Hey guys, what's going on? Canadian Jutsu here for another episode of the Hunter Base Podcast, but I'm not here today with my buddy Zeromaster. So, obviously, he's usually the one that does the intro, so I don't know what to say, so I'm just going to parrot what he normally says. So, what do Mavericks do when they aren't hunting Mavericks? They go back to base, recharge, and shoot the shit. And I am shooting the shit with a wonderful guest today. WonRull? Do you go by WonRull now, or Unreal 007? Or which one is it, buddy? Which one is it?
I don't know. Okay, well, it's pronounced WonRull, but you could just call me Unreal for short.
Yeah.
Hi, this is my second appearance on this podcast.
Yes, you were part of Power Rangers, right?
Yes.
Ninja Force? Ninja Storm?
Ninja Steel.
Steel, right.
I love Ninja Storm, though.
Okay. I personally like Power Rangers Mystic Force, and I understand that a lot of people don't, and I get why. But I still love it. But the reason why you are joining me today is, well, if you guys haven't read the title yet, we're talking Kingdom Hearts, and this includes Kingdom Hearts 3 spoilers, and I guess the other games, because obviously the story bleeds over from previous things and stuff. So if you haven't played Kingdom Hearts 3 yet, I'm actually kind of surprised, because there's a lot of people that seems to be playing this game, at least in my social network and social circle.
If you're behind on Kingdom Hearts 3 or anything and don't want to be spoiled, turn back. We're gonna flip the switch on spoilers in just a few seconds.
Yeah, because we have some opinions, whether it's story-based, gameplay-based, and just anything. So, yeah, so in T-minus 3, 2, 1, this is your final spoiler warning. Here we go. So, first and foremost, general thoughts. Did Kingdom Hearts 3 live up to the expectation that has been placed upon it over the course of the, I guess, decade that it has been rumored or echoed within our current gamer base?
Now, are you asking this in terms of us personally, or are we going a general broad sense? Because there are two different ways to answer this.
Yeah, I would say personally, because obviously this is just our opinions, and I also want to preface this, if there is a lot of discussion in the comment section below, that these are our opinions, and we are not hiding the fact that there are opinions, but we're not going to, we'll try our best not to generalize and accuse certain things of things that aren't happening. That's why I just sort of wanted to throw that out there as well. So yeah, what would be your personal take? Is this the Kingdom Hearts 3 that you were looking for? Is it satisfactory? Did you hate it? Did you love it in certain parts? Let her out.
Now
let it out.
You describing that is funny, because did I have any expectations? Is the bigger question. I don't consider myself a big fan. As in, I am not hardcore deep in to Kingdom Hearts, but there was an appeal that I saw with the franchise way back. Just for background, my first game was Chain of Memories, because I did not grow up with a PlayStation, so I didn't have a PS2 or anything. And it's funny, because I had a PlayStation magazine that actually highlighted Kingdom Hearts, and I'm just like, what is this? This looks sick. Because me being younger, I'm like, whoa, what? I don't know too much about Final Fantasy, but I'm just kind of had a general idea. Plus, with all the Disney stuff,
it's
too.
Interesting. Yeah, because I was the opposite of that. I was a PlayStation kid, and yeah, no, I played the first one, and I was already jazzed for it back then.
Yeah, so because I had a Game Boy Advance, I opted for Chain of Memories as the start. And then eventually when the second game came out, I did play that because we had a local gaming area around here, like a LAN center, and I was able to play it on their PS2. course, I had to pay money to play at the gaming center, but that's how I experienced Kingdom Hearts 2. And I'm like, yeah, I guess this is what I was missing compared to what I played on the GBA. I ended up not playing 1 until many years later. Like many, many years later. When I added
like when the collections came out on PS3?
No, when I finally got myself a PS2 and started collecting for it. I played the OG PS1 game and beat it.
Oh man, can't skip cutscenes. Gotta watch that Riku cutscene over and over and over again.
I beat him first try.
Oh, lucky dog. My 11-year-old mind couldn't comprehend that.
Now,
actually, no, I was older then. I was like 14.
I actually never died during the game. Unless you count me losing to Cloud, but that's not a game over in that instance.
That's not a game over. Or Squall either.
I beat Squall. Barely, but I beat him. But no, I was genuinely surprised at how much I was enjoying the first one all those years later. Even though some stuff aged, and it's the OG version that, again, you can't skip cutscenes and whatever. I'm just like,
yeah.
No, that was better than I was expecting.
Jumping.
Yeah,
the jumping was the worst part of Cage 1.
It was stiff.
Yeah,
and it's funny because in that case, back to Chain of Memories, I didn't beat the game until like maybe a decade later. I got to the end of Sora. I could not beat it, and this was me as like a younger kid because that game got hard. And then many years later, I'm like, really? You could just break the game by just doing these specific things. I'm like, oh, I beat it. And then I played through Riku's stuff, which, again, was...
Riku provided, I feel like, the best challenge in that game.
Well, it was all through predetermined shit, but I still beat that.
Yeah, like, I didn't have to really worry about building a proper deck. It was just sort of, like, predetermined certain things and, like, assessing a fight, which was a fight rather than, oh, look at my super powerful fireball spells, you know, like, and I could just blast through rooms for the first, like, half the game.
Yeah, the only problem with Riku was, like, depending on which chapter it is, you may have a really bad deck with numbers, and it's the worst. It's like, ah!
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did you go back and beat the GBA game?
The
or
GBA
did you play...
game. I just one day, and I'm like, you know what? My DS is here. Why not? And I did.
Yeah. Pop it in the bottom and just see what was so troubling back when you were younger.
Yeah, and I'm just like, because I never truly learned the card system back then. Me was like, high number cards, LR, 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 waste all my cards, and now I have none left. I overspammed slates as a kid. Because, like, with PS2, it's like you could kind of button mash, and there's also spells and stuff. But with the card system, you can't. I know we're going super off topic away from 3, but this is like, I think, necessary background because I eventually caught up on the other games. Like, when I got a PSP, I found Birth by Sleep at a con with Peace Walker, and I got that, and I played through that. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about Birth by Sleep.
We'll talk about Birth by Sleep a little later on when it becomes more relevant to our story.
It'll tie in, and then
it'll all tie in. But like, I get you. Like, Birth by Sleep, I still feel is probably my second favorite Kingdom Hearts game. There's a lot of things like Terra. It's just Terra.
We'll
Terra
go
is
into
the problem
that
with that game. We'll get into that. We'll go into that.
Funny thing with Birth by Sleep, I did put the game back in my PSP a little bit before 3 came out. I'm just like, I'll see, because apparently there was a secret episode, but then I found out that was just exclusive for Final Mix. I'm like, oh, okay, so I can't get it in the original. Never mind. But I like popped in the game and I'm like, oh, this feels bad. Like, jumping feels so slow, and combat too, but I guess it's because I started early on.
It has a floatiness to it that I guess that's when Kingdom Hearts started to think that air combat was the most preferred method.
That was when Osaka Team took over.
Yeah.
Everyone's favorite.
Well, we can get into that a little bit later, because you do sort of see a little of that bleed over into Kingdom Hearts 3.
Now,
if you're not a fan of that type of stuff.
I never bothered with the DS games, but I did play the 3DS game, which is funny because I got that. I think I got that somewhere near launch. I don't remember. It was a new copy, and it came with the AR cards and all that.
Yeah.
I got near the end of the game, and then I just stopped playing. For some reason, just like Chain of Memories, I'm like, I got far. I had way less trouble than I did, like, for example, like Chain of Memories, because I'm older now, but for some reason I just stopped, and I think 2 years later I went back and finished it.
So did you do that with Kingdom Hearts 3? Am I now, like, regretting inviting you on this podcast?
Oh, no.
You did not just, like, get to the end and said, fuck it.
No. It's like, oh, Resident Evil 2? Let me go back to that for the 20th time. No.
Yeah.
I platinumed Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh, okay. You like, I have beaten the game, but I have not gone back to it since I beat it. I'm like, I let it cook, not just for the podcast, but just for me personally.
Usually I use the let it cook term for games that are unreleased. It's like, oh, delayed, let it cook. Yeah. We'll just let some games cook.
Well, it's one of those things where, like, I don't want my expectation when I first play it, when I don't know what's happening, I haven't looked up anything online for months about it, and I was like, this is going to be my first impression as clean as possible. But I find that if I do that sometimes, and I don't do the research and other things like that, that when something surprises me or something I don't like occurs, it leaves sort of this, like, impression in me that I'm like, am I just, like, not part of the hype crew right now? Because I remember at the very tail end of Mount Olympus, the very first level you go to, that I had that feeling where I was like, I don't know if this is good. And I look back on it now and I think, you know, after, like, hearing other people's opinions about it and, you know, just seeing the review scores online and other things that people talk about, and I'm like, oh, that was just my anticipation for something amazing wasn't immediately struck.
Yeah, I think you were worried about the zeitgeist that came.
My opinion of it.
I think you were worried about the zeitgeist that came with just the expectations here. I quickly want to go back. I made sure I was caught up too, because I did get the story so far. Because I eventually want to play the final mix stuff on the other games, but I'm just like, all right, even though I could easily just YouTube this, I watched the cutscenes for the 2DS games that were included. Let's just say I decided to just lie on my bed for a lot of that and nearly dozed off.
Yeah. But I knew Recoded is awful.
Nothing happens in Recoded until the very end. And
yeah, where it's like a cliff note that they're like, oh, by doing this, we unlock this little piece of crucial lore detail.
Oh, and
Thanks, Mickey.
I should also say, roughly around the time it came out, I rented 2.8, so I got to play 0.2, and I watched the Unchained stuff, which, yeah, it's like, oh, okay, this is mobile game stuff, I guess.
This is the mobile game stuff, which apparently is a lot more important, but we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. I did briefly download that mobile game. May have been the worst downloading experience on the phone of my life.
Oh,
you can't, for some reason I couldn't transfer it to my SD card, which has way more space, so I had to delete nearly everything else to fit it on, because you could play the game before it downloads everything else, and this was to just get the one Keyblade early by doing Classic Kingdom stuff on the phone. I'm like, alright, I'll just do that. Oh my god. Yeah. I had to fucking... I had to re-download the thing like 6 times. Because, like, it's a long install process, and it's like, you don't have... It'll install, and then it gets to a point, it's like, you don't have enough space. And I'm like, then just tell me at the start! Don't download it halfway and go, by the way, no! Better start over!
Well, like, how did... This type of thing, like, you said at the very beginning, before we went down this rabbit hole
of 20 installs of fucking Union Cross
of a mobile game. You were saying that, you know, like, you didn't, like, when I said, what were your expectations? You said, well, I didn't, like, it's funny you say that because I don't think I had any. It actually kind of sounds like you did because of how your history with Kingdom Hearts seems to go.
Well, here's the thing, to put it this way, a lot of people were waiting decades for the third installment since like 2, and we're trying to catch up. That was not me. I was not one of those kids. I would just be like, Kingdom Hearts? I guess I'll pop in. That has been me, and it was me with this, because I'm like, hey, I'm caught up. This is supposedly the culmination of everything. And I'm like, sure, I'll pop in on that. I've had fun with a majority of the installments I played. And I guess the ones I didn't play were the bad ones, so yeah.
Yeah. Or they're just forgettable. They're not bad.
Well,
they're just like really forgettable. They're a product of their time. Like I always talk about, like there's some Wii games that like something like Skyward Sword will be a product of its time. Like as people look back on Skyward Sword, they're going to remember the motion controls and other things like that. And since it seems like Nintendo is moving away from that now, it feels like it will just be that awkward moment in time rather than it being remembered fondly as a beloved Zelda game.
I love that whip item. Favorite thing from Skyward Sword. My favorite boss. Oh,
yeah, but like it, and that's the thing that always sort of like whenever I think about the DS games and Kingdom Hearts, I sort of apply the same logic to that. Then I feel like they came out at a time where, because I really liked 358 Days and divided by 2.
Excuse me, 358 Days over 2?
Yeah, whatever. I don't give a shit.
It's the worst title in the history of video games.
I mean, Kingdom Hearts has always had stupid titles, but
that's the worst it's ever been.
But that is the worst in the weirdest way, because you have to say a specific way. It's not. It has to be divided into. Because
it's the title is just relevant to how the plot works, and I'm like,
yeah.
So
which links to our boy Roxas and our girl Xion. But like that's the thing. Is you look at it and I'll always say, yeah, they're just a weird product of their time. You could even say that about Chain of Memories too.
Yeah,
although I don't think it has as much of an excuse because it got a remake on the PS2 and then they decided to keep the card game.
Yeah, and even then, like, at least for the GBA, that's pretty damn good sprite work. I think that sprite work holds up. The environment sucks shit.
Square has always been good at sprite work.
Yeah, it's a shame that they... Oh, well, I guess Octopath is the closest.
Yeah. And, I was about to say Dragon Quest, but that's not Square.
No.
I was like, yeah. But regardless, like, so you going into Kingdom Hearts 3... You had that, I guess that you had a very, very base level of anything. You're like, I know the gameplay is probably going to be relatively solid, you know, like, because I've never been, like, really angry at the controls of Kingdom Hearts before.
Of the controls?
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, I'm talking about your general sense before going into the game.
I'm just trying to think if there was any other installment where I'm like, oh, I can't play this.
Because if you really didn't have any expectations, I'd be surprised that you had picked it up at launch and played it on launch day. Because if you didn't really care and you just sort of bought it because you know that eventually you'll get around to it, it's just sort of like you feel like you're not going to be let astray. Like this game is going to be so awful compared to the other ones that you've played.
I've done that with other franchises. Like I didn't really do God of War until PS4, and then I started buying the old ones. So it's case by case with franchises for me. This one just happened to be because of how long 3 took. I managed to, catch up, I guess.
Yeah. Actually, here's an interesting parallel. Did you have the same type of expectations with Final Fantasy 15?
Oh, well, that's been around for so many games, and that was actually my first Final Fantasy game that I guess I played more than 3 minutes of.
Yeah. Like one that you actually completed.
Yes. 15 was the first game I played to completion. It's just like...
Because that's
RPGs
an interesting thing
are so weird
for me.
with me. If it's like turn-based, it's like... It's hard to hold attention. What Kingdom Hearts has done is like, it's more action-based and like... I can get behind that more, which is why I've been able to complete stuff like Secret of Mana or Secret of Evermore, because I'm like, I'm more into the action here. I feel more in control, less menu stuff. but that's just
Yeah,
me
so-
because
and
I
that's
would
why I'm
love
saying this
to
is an
do
interesting
turn-based
parallel
games, and
because
you know,
it's an interesting parallel because they have very similar type of construction and like how long they've taken to come out and stuff like that. And I will just say it out right now. I had a better first experience with 15 than I did with Kingdom Hearts 3. And I am a diehard Final Fantasy fan. I've played almost all of them except for 12. 12 I need to beat. 12 is the only one that I have not gone all the way through and beaten. And 11, because you can never beat an MMO. Or 14, because you can't beat an MMO.
well,
But
you're hard
like
into 14, so I think we're good.
I'm hard into 14. I have been hard into Final Fantasy ever since I was little wee tot. When I played Final Fantasy quote-unquote 3, which is Final Fantasy 6 on the Super Nintendo. And I've gone back and played all the others, though 1 and 2 I played on the PSP. Those are like the only games that I played on the PSP, because no one talks about Third Birthday. But before I go way off track, but that's the thing, is like, I am both a Kingdom Hearts fan and I am a Final Fantasy fan. And to be fair, I'm more of a Final Fantasy fan than I am a Kingdom Hearts fan, and to that extent, Disney fan as well. So those two meshing together aren't always appealing, but man, 15 had its problems, and I feel that Kingdom Hearts 3 has its problems too. But 15 overall, for my very first impressions, for the first like 20 hours of gameplay and playing, I felt as though 15 was a better experience for me. And I understand that they aren't the same, but they're directed by the same guy.
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
Because, oh man, talk about Nomura being pulled on 50 different projects at once because Square's like, this one now. No, get off it. Go on that.
And that's why I think the games are starting to show that. They're starting to show as he's like they've been hopping directors and they've going through like reworks of the game, or they stalled on it because they needed to get another game out or whatever. You know, like that, and I guess also we have to think that if this game has been in development for this many years, we have to think back to, 2011, 2012, when 14 was launched, and where Square was they were tanking. And we were questioning whether or not they were going to continue making video games because of how poorly their fiscal year was back then. And then when 14 relaunched, they got all this MMO money and they were able to push forward. Then obviously they started partnering up like with Crystal Dynamics for things like Tomb Raider, and then we have with Nier, the Nier Automata, them releasing that. And now they're printing money. So I feel that when these games were in development, when 15 and Kingdom Hearts were in development, that at some point, because they've been in development for so long, they were affected by that low budgetary thing. And then as the games got closer to completion, they became grander and bigger. And you can see where the money started funneling in, like a lot later on. So that's why I'm interested to get delve deeper into the story. I
want to revisit this topic later, believe it or not.
Okay.
Because
right.
there was some research I did, or theories research, whatever, but I do want to revisit that. So I guess that is a general thing. I guess you could consider me like I was almost going to say low budget Kingdom Hearts fan. Like, I guess I'm just like probably the lowest common denominator. It's like, the games are fun.
I don't mind if you want to say that you're a fence sitter. Like, I think fence sitting when it comes to opinions about games is good.
I wouldn't say I'm like on the fence. I'd be like, no, I enjoy the games, but don't think I'm going to be kind to every single one. That ain't me.
Yeah. You're a fan enough.
I'm
right?
just like, I would play the games if it ticks certain boxes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's just me. But yeah, so I guess like I said, me getting 3 was just more like, well, it's basically a long time coming. I'm curious. I was probably going to play it anyway. Let's go. Which is definitely different from how you're approaching it.
Yeah, so you now that we've sort of given that, so you hop in, you put that PlayStation 4 disc in, boom, you put it in, it loads I feel like the entire fucking game, and then it patches itself for another eternity, and then finally, boom, you're playing the game. So
I got stuff to say.
All right, that's what I'm saying.
What's in
the floor is now yours.
I could be wrong. I think this is the first Kingdom Hearts game where you boot it up and it plays a cinematic opening before the title screen. I believe the other ones go straight to the title screen, do they not?
Gosh, it's hard to remember back to the PS2 days, because if a lot of the times when you select them in the PS4 thing, because that I played them in anticipation for this, so I would use the PlayStation 4 thingy for it. So I can't remember. I'm fairly sure
I think it
that
might be
when you press start game, it would show a cinematic.
Yeah,
it used to.
Yeah,
that's how it used to be,
and it shows cutscenes from the old games.
Yeah, where Haley Joel Osment speaks to us.
No, he doesn't speak to you. That's after you actually start the game. I'm talking about the cinematic where it's going through opening credits while it's playing the orchestral song, which I love. I'm just this orchestra sound.
You like the new song? You like the new song?
Don't Think Twice. Well, I don't know what they call it.
Don't Think Twice. I thought you were talking about the Skrillex.
I am not talking about that. I will get to that. No, when you boot up the game, it plays the orchestra and it starts with chess dudes, but then it takes cutscenes from the older games to kind of do a brief catch up while it goes da 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 da, and oh, this orchestra sounds amazing. That's the one thing I've loved about the franchise. Fucking great soundtracks for the most part. I'm just I love how it sounds.
Yeah. See, the interesting thing, and I know that this is a crazy, weird theory, but the reason why we got so many HD versions of these games, that we got re-releases and everything,
it's just to glow up the intro.
It's not just for the intro, but for all the flashbacks that happen throughout the game. I'm like, man, that looks really good. It's in HD.
I would have loved
totally
if they just took GBA footage, not the GBA cut scenes that they compressed in, because that's still impressive that they did that. I meant you just see sprite work. It's just what happened there? Why did they like that?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to see that type of stuff, and I'm fairly sure this crazy theory is they only re-released them in HD because they already did it to make it for these cutscenes. Because like I said, every time they flash back to previous events, it's not in the Unreal Engine. It's in or they look like they did in those games.
Yeah,
they don't flash back in engine. They always flash back to a video of one of the HD cutscenes.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's noticeable, but it doesn't bother me too much, because the games, for the most part, up to, until 3, for example, they've always kind of had a similar look and art style to them. Yeah. This is, the biggest jump it's ever been. So I guess it's whatever.
And I actually prefer this one. I was, when I first looked at it, and I thought, man, everybody looks really, really glossy. But then when you get to the pirate world and you see Sora and Donald and Goofy and they look like that, I'm like, no, this is the best engine. Can I please go back to the Nightmare Before Christmas?
I think they made them look like that in response to how off-putting it was in Kingdom Hearts 2. It's okay, we could just make them blend in a bit better per world.
Yeah, and
that looks great.
Like that, because
the game looks phenomenal. The Monster
Inc. ones looked phenomenal too. So yes, graphically, this game, I approve of the art style change, or I guess the engine change in this case, but I also feel that this is the superior level for Kingdom Hearts going forward. That they should definitely keep this style.
It's interesting because they did use Unreal Engine 4 for 0.2. But I think it was unrefined at the part, because a lot of people compared how 0.2 looked to how 3 came out, and 3 came out looking better. So I guess they just worked on everything after that point. Plus, 0.2. Well, I have a base PS4, so no Pro here. You were locked to 30 on 0.2. You could do 60 on Pro, but Kingdom Hearts 3 regular, it targets 60. It's unlocked frame rate, and it's great. I mean, there is a stable mode for 30 FPS, but it's terrible. Digital Foundry actually did a video on that, and it's like, it is not a good option. It actually, and I tried it. I tried it for a total of 5 seconds and said, "No, this is bad." Turn it back to the other one.
Yeah, I actually have a Pro, so this is interesting. Like, so to know that, like, I'm like, the game runs great on my, even with the boosted settings.
Yeah,
which
I
usually
think you get less frame rate drops than I would have, but still, it runs solid.
Yeah, like, it's like, yeah, everything is very, very responsive. However, it takes a while for you to get used to some of the very, this is the thing, some people call it dumbed down controls versus, I call it more like rearranged, that they've rearranged a lot of things, but they tried to make it as close to 2 as possible. With all the extra stuff, like things from Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance sort of like being sprinkled in. Where it's not a necessary component to like being a master at the game, but at the same time, if you don't use these types of things, it will feel clunky. Because you're like, oh, I feel very repetitive without all these extra little, like, nubs or going up close to a barrel and pressing triangle and you, like, golf swing it at an enemy because it's that perfect type of barrel or something.
The controls felt just in line with the other games in the franchise. I'm like, this feels right. This feels as I remember for the most part. Didn't really have too much trouble. The only thing I had to get used to was, just cycling through the reaction commands, which for me was mapped to L2, but that wasn't too bad because D-pad you'd be using for the actual menu.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy how much they optimized the engine since 0.2 for this. Like it,
yeah, because a lot of people complained in 0.2 that though the combat felt solid and magic felt really, really good, the problem was Aqua felt as if she was like underwater all the time.
Well, that is true.
Yeah,
she pretty much is.
Darkness. Okay. Yeah, darkness. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's that feeling of, I don't know, your character just doesn't hit the ground when you think they should.
I just don't remember how 0.2 felt because I beat it because it's really short and I almost 100% it, but held off because I was just renting it. And I'm like, I don't want to grind to level 80 something. I don't want to play critical for the last one. I'll do it in the future. But yeah, so it's going to be harder for me to personally compare between.
Well, there's no critical mode in this.
Yeah, there's no critical mode.
There's no critical mode. It's just proud mode this time around.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking an update maybe.
I don't think that's happening. I could get my sources wrong, but I don't know if it was said that critical mode's just not happening or not. I could be wrong on this.
Yeah, because that's the thing is like I don't mind if it's like free DLC a little bit later on down the line because they just want people to enjoy it and not be like hardest difficulty will give me some sort of super special story or something. So they just said don't put critical mode in it so people don't bitch about how hard the game is or something like that, and then just deliver with it later. Because there's some games that have done that have like given you the hardest difficulty just a little bit later.
I get.
I think Persona 5 did that. Where you could get I can't even remember at this point. It's like intense or something like that.
More like why bother? More like
I don't know. Some people are masochists. Some people like to play games that like beat them constantly.
I love sticking my dick into an electrical socket. Please, Atlas. I love it.
Yeah. Thank you. But that's the thing. Like that's the I guess the draw of that. But I just played on standard.
I also played on standard, and from reports, people have been saying Proud is easy. So yeah, this is not a difficult game at all.
Yeah. Which we have to remember is the target demographic And a lot of people forget this when they start yelling at each other.
Yeah, people
about
forget.
Kingdom Hearts. People forget. This game is not for a 30-something-year-old dude. This is for kids of our age when we got the original Kingdom Hearts.
Even though
right?
like
So
critical were added in other baby games.
You have to give it some leeway that this game is not an adult video game. It's actually a kid's game because it's Disney.
I kind of jokingly say that this franchise is a baby game for babies, but there is like a level that's kind of supposed to be accessible to everyone. If people want to challenge, it's there. If baby game wants to turn on, you can do that and just enjoy the Disney stuff. So yeah, that's also kind of why it's like an E for everyone title for the most part. I don't think any title got T rated. I don't think it's always been like E10 at least.
Oh no, one of them was T rated.
Was it 2?
Yes, it was 2.
You're kidding me.
I'm fairly sure
Why
2
the
was
fuck
T
was
rated.
it Oh, maybe that was before. No, then
there was a lot of people dying. Like there was like one of them was like actual burning. Like they had to.
Well,
they
Goofy
had to
did
sneak
die.
around
I
the center.
guess T rating just for Goofy dying. Disney's like, yo, if he's dying, you gotta bump that rating up. We're not gonna allow you to.
And you have to revive him afterwards with the power of friendship.
Yeah,
it's very important. It's part of the Disney contract.
No Star Wars.
Unless they're a villain. If they're a villain, murder them.
If they're a villain, die like they did in their Disney movies.
Like, that's why I'm, like, so afraid of Big Hero 6, that the sequel to it is gonna have, like, the brother's AI or something, where he's like, I rebuilt myself from the ground up. And then he turns out to be the big bad villain, but he's got his brother back, and it's just drama. I hope they don't do that with Big Hero 6 too.
Oh no.
Because they talk about, like, obviously when we get to Big Hero 6 World, you know, like, it's kind of like a continuation, but it kind of feels like it's not. It's, like, weirdly in between.
I feel like I remember we just sidetracked away from the main menus somehow, because I did want to go back and say that nice main menu. Definitely.
Oh, yes.
Like, I just, like, every main menu is, like, it's always got the nice theme to it, and I think this rendition is superb. It just encapsulates the feeling of, like, okay, this is the one. Not, like, the best one, but just, like, hey, this story's pretty much hitting its climax.
Yeah, this is it. This is it.
And then you boot the game up and have one of the worst fucking songs I have ever heard in the entire franchise. I have never receded back into my chair as hard as I did when I first heard Face My Fears. I'm sorry.
Okay.
This is so bad.
It's bad, but I like it because it's bad. Because it's really bad.
I cannot agree with that. I wish I could laugh at how bad it is, but I'll just tell you right now, I did hear the song before I ever got the game because they released it early. I'm just like, all right, what the hell does this sound like? And then it's like, whatever. And then right before, like, the build up and then the stupid Skrillex comes in, I just immediately, like, paused, slammed my head into the desk and said, this is terrible!
See, I would give it more credit if it's like, oh, like, throughout the game, we're gonna actually hear this sort of, it's not just gonna be orchestral music, it's gonna have, like, some sort of weird, like, whatever Skrillex is. What do we call them now? What is that? What is that?
He's still technically considered dubstep.
Alright, dubstep. Like, so technically considered dubstep.
People have defended and said, like, this is actually the least Skrillex he's ever been, but I'm just like, you're right, but I'm sorry. Like,
well, like, let's be fair too. Like, the Kingdom Hearts openings have always had either, like, techno remixes
that sound
or
better.
Dubstep.
Techno is forever better than dubstep. Don't at me. I'm sorry. Nothing can, like, okay. Zero.
So
edit
Kingdom Hearts
us
2's.
talking backwards for like 2 seconds max and then resume. Because that's Sanctuary.
Just erase my opinion, right? Is that what you're saying? Just erase my opinion on Sanctuary?
No, because that's how that song likes putting it. It likes putting in backwards words
okay.
during
It
the whole
puts everything
song. And every time I
backwards.
hear it, I get secondhand embarrassment. Now, I like the song, but then I heard like the Japanese rendition. I'm like, the vocals are like better in Japanese because like the lyrics are kind of different. The meaning is also different.
Well, you listen to the song more. Like this is something that I've noticed with just Japanese music in general, is I tend to listen to the beat and like the background of the song rather than concentrating on lyrics like I normally do with like regular songs where I'm always thinking lyrics, but with Japanese I don't really understand it. So it melodically usually goes with the song. Like, all the Persona music is a good example where they can play an instrumental and it's just as good as the one with lyrics, because the one with lyrics have lyrics that are just so well blended into the music that they don't lose something from one another for not being together.
Now,
whereas in like Sanctuary, let's just get off Sanctuary. Sanctuary is just bad. So
now I will disagree with you there. I know I just shat on it because I have problems with it, but in general I like it. But I like it's called After the Battle version, which is you'd hear it in Kingdom Hearts 2's credits or even like Dream Drop's credits, where it's just like way more piano melodic, and I'm just like, this is giving me goosebumps. I still hate the backwards parts, but I'm just like, this sounds better. And then after all that, it just goes instrumental. And I'm just like, that sounds cool.
I
Simple and Clean has always given me secondhand embarrassment. When I first beat Kingdom Hearts 1, I mean, I always knew about the song, but just like when it started playing as soon as Kairi and Sora separated, I just like had to mute the TV and I'm like, dude, I can't. I'm like, I don't want to be heard listening to this. It's so embarrassing.
Oh man, but the feels that I had, my teenage heart felt.
And it's also weird, but like it also sounds better in Japanese because the lyrics go with the music. And if you compare the orchestra of Simple and Clean, which is like Hikari, I believe, and that's also the name of the song in Japanese, the orchestra matches the Japanese vocals where it goes dun 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 dun. It's like, that sounds better than when you walk away. You don't hear me say. But no, it's just like the songs have given me secondhand embarrassment, but I still kind of like them.
Hey man, when Simple and Clean played towards the end of this game, before they ruined it.
You mean the it seemed like it rearranged orchestra. It seemed way more bombastic. And I'm like, that sounds so good.
I was like, oh, I heard Simple and Clean playing. I'm like, they know that this is, they're bringing it full circle. They're back on Destiny Island. And then Skrillex came up and I was like, oh my god, Skrillex, why are you here right now? This is not what I need.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
At the end?
Yeah.
Skrillex was not at the end.
Place. But didn't they go into the song again?
No. Don't think twice is
played it.
No,
and then,
don't think twice is not Face Your Fears or Face My Fears. Those are two separate.
I thought Face My Fears plays at the end when like Sayx and Axel are throwing fucking frisbees or whatever the fuck they're throwing at each other.
No, that is Don't Think Twice.
Oh, that's
Face
Don't
My
Think
Fears
Twice?
is only in the intro after you press start and Sora waxes poetic again.
Oh, okay. So we consider Skrillex the Kingdom Hearts AMV section of the game, right? Where they wanted to make an AMV out of Kingdom Hearts.
It may as well be. But
gotcha. That's how I look at it. That's why I love it so much, because I'm like, it's a fucking AMV. Square Enix put an AMV in my Kingdom Hearts game.
But excluding Skrillex, but like Simple Clean, Sanctuary got my weird secondhand embarrassment problems with it. Still generally like them, but I prefer okay, Sanctuary's orchestra I do like. That one didn't click with me too much because Simple and Clean's orchestra is like masterful, sounds phenomenal, which is why they used it again near the end, which was great. Skrillex don't get an orchestra. Who gives a shit? It's terrible.
Well, like, some people have been actually making orchestral versions of Face My
I
Fears.
don't want to
and
hear it. It's
some of them are really, really good.
I don't. I'm sorry. I'm hard
there's no
out.
dubstep in them.
I know.
They make an actual orchestral version of it.
But here's the thing. I just imagine, like, okay, it's orchestra. Here comes the violins going, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm like, I don't know.
Actually, they make it a piano instead, so it doesn't sound like a violin.
I don't think that would fix it. Changing the instruments. Maybe it would. I don't know. I'm just hard quit on that song. I've made my decision on that long ago.
That's fine. I just like it for its AMV quality.
Oh, God.
It's like one of those songs that just would be in every AMV.
It's like the one time I went to Connecticut and walked into an AMV contest and How Could This Happen to Me was playing and I walked right out. I'm just like, nope, that's the biggest stereotype. Hard quit. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But
see, like, that's like the music. That's this, like, we've been talking about the songs, obviously, of Kingdom Hearts 3, but like the music in general, I really like. Actually, it's a solid soundtrack.
It is really good. I think. Well, it's super early in the year. Right now, it's contender for OST of the year. Even though it's super early, I think it at least deserves a spot. Honestly, I want to save talking about Don't Think Twice for the end to at least talk about it with story, you know.
Okay, yeah, with what's happening in the background, yeah, because there's a lot of meaning behind everything.
And also, I heard that song in Japanese with the fucking VR experience. That weird...
You actually did that thing?
Yeah, well, not the Kingdom Hearts one. That's still not out. It's still not out. It should have been out before the game, and they still don't have it. I think it's out in Japan, but America's like, delay. You don't know. You're not even going to get everything yet immediately. But no, I did. Yeah. I did the weird concert things where it just plays both Hikari and Shikai, which is the Japanese names of Simple and Clean and Don't Think Twice. And I'm just like,
yeah.
It's like, that's cool. Super weird, though. VRing with real people. I almost thought I was looking at Square Enix CG for a bit. I'm just like, okay, all right, okay. But
actually, speaking of that, that's actually part of the game that is sometimes jarring and sometimes, like, out of nowhere, is the quick jump to CG. It's blended relatively well, but you can tell when they're doing CG things and then they're doing in-engine things.
The biggest takeaway, look at Sora's eyes. That is the biggest takeaway. Obvious spots were like Frozen. I think the most obvious, believe it or not, I don't know if you agree, is the Pirates World. I could actually pinpoint where it's pre-rendered. Because it looks
and you know why you
insane.
Yeah, not only that, is the characters are so photorealistic, it's because of its light setting. A lot of all the other worlds like Monsters Inc. And Toy Story, they have very dark sort of backgrounds. Like they have moments of being, during the day and stuff like that, but they're still not outside. They're not being affected by sunlight. So we don't get the natural lighting from the Unreal Engine as like predominant when it does very, very bright colors. So when you're in the Pirates of the Caribbean world, you see the jump because you can see what's in engine and what was created using the cinematic tool of the engine.
Yeah, and if you can pause the frame, you can see the Arnold at Frozen.
Yeah. Yeah, where like they render these things with like really high, I guess very expensive stuff, but that's a big thing. That's the big thing that everybody's been talking about. But like I just feel that aspect of that little tweak it felt a little nostalgic for me, because I would be like, oh, it's like an actual cutscene. Like, we would always be anticipated for, like, when I played FF8 for the first time, and I was, like, so jazzed to see every single full motion video out of that. So seeing that sort of, like, being represented, I don't know why they had to do it. I guess it's just for just how they want the game to run. It makes it easier to sort of play videos rather than like do shit in engine.
Did Final Fantasy X have smooth cuts? I mean, obviously the graphic jump is big.
No, it was so blatant.
No, I meant
PS2
like smooth
10.
as in like nothing skipped a frame between it. I mean, I know the CG and everything.
That never happened.
Really? Oh, I guess the HD version made it look better. Like where it was just like
the
instantly
original
go
game,
to the CG. I'm not saying they would look the same graphically, but I'm just talking about like, whoa, that was a seamless transition despite the graphics being completely different. I'm talking about like there are some games where like it's coming when the thing just freezes a bit and then it loads.
or that a shot lingers for a little too long.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If it freezes, it's like, oh, it's getting it.
Yeah, like, I don't know how many times I think that did it with Goofy shuffling. Like, he would shuffle on screen, and he'd just sort of awkwardly stand there for, like, just a bit too long, and then it would load a CG, like, run animation or whatever for that thing.
I do want to go back to music briefly.
Oh, yeah,
a lot of battle themes I liked. Like, not, like, just world themes, battle themes, I don't know, just the whole Toy Story world just going, and I'm just like, slowly kind of just hilariously losing. It's like, yeah, it fits, but I'm just like, oh man. And hey, that had a good battle theme too, especially when like the instruments started picking.
All of them did.
Yeah, I think my favorite battle theme might be Monstropolis, because the way it builds up when it starts, I'm just like, oh, this sounds good.
Mm-hmm. I like Monstropolis, but I'm probably gonna give it to Big Hero 6 for me personally.
Oh, well, nighttime battle theme for Big Hero 6. I'm like, yo, okay, this is the Tron world I was missing.
So, like, yeah, San Fran Tokyo is
San Fran Tokyo. It's weird.
Yeah,
I watched maybe 20 minutes of Big Hero 6, which was near the beginning. So I know how it kind of starts, but that's it.
Okay, you know the big, oh, okay, this is Disney moment.
What?
Oh, his brother.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. It's funny. I was just watching an art stream, and it was just on in the corner.
Where Disney's like, oh, wait, you don't have a father? Well, that's what, we're going to take away the closest thing to a father. Well, we can't get rid of Mother.
We can't do that. Mother!
Yeah. But regardless, and, like, the way the worlds were presented, too. Like, it's interesting, like, things like the Monster World, I really, really liked. Toy Story was fun and cute, though I don't have a lot of, like, big memories, because it really felt like I was just sort of living out this...
You don't like the only Final Fantasy reference? Well, not the only, there's multiple.
Not the only one.
I just, like, when Cactuar showed up, I'm like, CJ, that's one, not counting Dissidia, that is one! Chalk it up. That's
not fair. You can't count a Cactuar. It's like counting the Moogles.
Well, guess what? You can't count the constellations on the gummy ship either. Which I did for the Platinum. And I'm like, oh, all these constellations are just fucking Final Fantasy, except for one, which I do want to get to in the future. It's not story related. It's still strictly gameplay.
Gotcha. But, yeah, no, it's... I just think, like, yeah, like those worlds in particular for me personally were some of the best, and I really liked the Pirates world, even though it really was just a retread of a Dead Man chest or whatever, with a little bit of like Sora and fucking Crabjack. That was weird.
Yeah, here's the thing. I remember seeing Dead Man's Chest in the theaters. Because a lot of the stuff, especially going through the game, I'm like, no, wait, I did see this in theaters long ago, but I don't remember Krabs. I'm just like, why is he Krabs now? I don't remember, like, what?
That was kind of weird. Yeah, that was kind of weird.
You could crab me up. No, he turns into the crabs that say Mother 3 is never being localized as they dance.
Yeah. And I guess maybe also that little nod to Assassin's Creed 4 with the boat mechanics, though they're very cartoony in this.
Simple.
They're super simple and very cartoony in this one compared to some of the other combats.
I think it's fine, though. I'm just like, all right, just hit
it mixes with the game well.
Yeah, it helps with the pace of that world. I like the expansiveness of the worlds. Like, one problem that a lot of people brought up with Dream Drop is that it's so empty. And it's like, it's big in 3, but it feels like there's more to it, you know?
Yeah. Well, you see it in the more open worldy places. Like when you're in the Big Hero 6 world or you're in the Caribbean world, the world feels bigger, but it feels naturally bigger, like you said. But some of the other ones, like the factory, I didn't know the factory was really that big. It felt way
the factory
bigger than
was
it
like
should
probably
be.
the most like room by room basis one in the game. I think my least favorite world may have been Frozen. Which is weird. I love snow levels. I like that, but I just think
well,
I just felt like
happens in it.
Well,
nothing happens in the Frozen thing.
We will get to that, but I'm just talking about from like gameplay. I felt like it's weird. It's like all this big mountain and stuff. I'm just like, it's too long.
I liked the final boss. I liked the final boss, and I actually quite enjoyed the snowball fight too.
I think I enjoyed that. I'm just talking about like overall, it may have been my least favorite in this game, which is weird because like I didn't think Tangled was too impressive either, but it didn't felt. That's the one that I'm kind of sad about. It didn't felt like it's kind of straightforward and Frozen, but there were times where I'm just like, am I getting lost when you're not really? I never felt that with Tangled, where it's like I kind of know where I'm going, but Frozen, I'm just like, oh, it looks so similar. Was I here before? Especially if I'm going back and looking for stuff, I'm like, fuck. Traversing sucked in that one.
That's the thing, is I was really looking forward to the Tangled World because that's one of my favorite Pixar movies that have come out in like a really long time, like excluding Toy Story 3, but like nothing can really compare to just Toy Story 3 is just a movie about what our toys when we were younger have gone, right? So you feel for them in that sense, and that's why Toy Story 3 was so effective for people of our generation, because it felt like it was growing up with us. But
prop to Mount Olympus for not just being a coliseum. Took them like 50 years.
Oh my god, that's the I guess maybe that's the part of me that when I was playing through it, I was like, this is so cool. I can't wait to visit like the Pride Lands and get like the proper Pride Lands, not whatever the
Sorry,
was in
Donald
Kingdom Hearts
Glover
2.
could not be contacted until later for the super realistic Unreal Engine 4 remake.
Oh gosh.
Dude, they're gonna render that first so hard if they do that Lion King. If they, that's future talk.
Yeah. Also, the guy they got to take over for Christopher Lloyd, can that voice actor be nominated for like best voice actor of the year? Because he sounds
Corey Burton has taken over Christopher. No, it was Christopher
Lloyd's
Lee.
character. He was Ansem the True, right? Or
no, it's Christopher Lee, not Lloyd. Christopher Lloyd
Lee,
is Morty.
Yeah, right. Yes.
I've been like, whoa, what? But yeah, no, Corey Burton, I think, was even an understudy, I think.
Yeah, because I was listening to those lines and I'm like, man, he sounds like perfect for this Christopher Lee part.
It helps.
But then
Rutger Hauer is no Leonard Nimoy, though.
Xehanort, unfortunately, tried a little too hard to be Leonard Nimoy and not act.
Yeah, it's weird. They got Rutger Hauer from Blade Runner. Believe it, when I was at the credits, I'm just like, all right, who, like, because I didn't know who did who, which personal pet peeve of mine. I'm like, just tell me who the Disney ones are. Like, who specifically Disney? Don't just lump them together. I don't know if it's some weird Disney contract bullshit. I just want to know.
Well,
who
I can definitely.
Buzz.
I was surprised. I was surprised that in the monster world that we didn't get Billy Crystal and John Goodman.
It wasn't them. Fuck.
It wasn't them. No.
I mean,
obviously they're sound-alikes.
I almost got fooled with Sully, but
yeah, Sully definitely is not John Goodman.
Yeah, I almost got fooled with him, but like, I'm just like, that doesn't really sound like Mike Wazowski. I don't even remember who played him until Blondie told me Billy Crystal, and I'm like, oh, well, maybe okay, I think that's a good thing. But no. Back to Rutger Hauer. I literally just yelled out Rutger Hauer when I saw him as Xehanort, and I'm like, they got him for that? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you do? I mean, Death sucks.
I mean, yeah, you can't, yeah, like, it's inevitable, and it like comes whenever it so chooses.
Which
so,
is
like,
also...
I'm sad that it isn't Leonard Nimoy, but I'm not mad at the guy that took over.
Well, yeah,
for him,
because it's just like unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah, I really feel that whenever you recast someone, especially if they've passed away, getting a sound-alike is kind of like stepping on their grave a little bit to me. Like, people would understand as soon as wow, why did they voice change? And then they're like, oh, well, the voice actor that originally played him died. You'd be like, oh, I understand now. And then you would respect the next guy that would take the reins. But when you get sound-alikes and you sort of just try and play it off as if nothing happened, and like this is a product of the 90s anime dubbing scene too, is they did that type of stuff, whether it was like a different dub or whatever, but everybody tried to sound like everybody else, so it didn't feel as jarring between it. And I don't know, I find it just disingenuous, and I'm like, man, this guy could have like really hammed it up as Xehanort this time around, because I think we really needed him to be somewhat more chaotic than I'm smiling and I'm always in charge.
Well, again, that may have never been what Xehanort was supposed to be.
I know, because there's all this other garbage that we have to start unpacking soon.
That's also why we don't have Phil from Hercules, because the Japanese VA passed away and they did not want to replace him, which is why we don't have Magnum Dong himself, Danny DeVito, for the English, where Phil will just show up and not say... Can I just say something quick? Anytime there was a character that had no lines but was there and did stuff was so awkward and terrible. Like,
okay.
Oh, I get...
So we talking specifically because in the Hercules world, there was another thing.
Phil was just weird.
And it was the little girl. The little girl that's like by a pillar and there's fire around. She's like, oh my god, help me. And not only does all of our heroes hear it, but then instead of just like running over there, because you can run over there, Hercules says, hey guys, want to hitch a ride? And then he throws a statue of himself.
And then it jump cuts to after the thing was
saving the girl.
It's just like, did we just missed an important part of if they lived or not?
Yeah, I'm like, guys, you're gonna need to explain this.
Don't worry about it.
Is this DLC that I'm missing out on? It felt so pointless. That was like the weirdest cutscene.
Oh man.
I was like, okay, that problem is solved. Though I think I could have done it without all of that.
I mean, what is this?
Or
like,
at least explain why it was necessary.
Hercules is running for like SGDQ. He's got to throw his statue.
He's got to throw his statue to save that girl.
Girl saved. How much time lost was that? Oh god.
Also, fucking Hercules just giving away the whole plot of how to unlock the power of waking. Like right out the gate.
What were his exact words? Just like,
he's like, whenever I use my strength, I think of like, and he was talking about his girlfriend. I can never remember the Meg. He's talking about Meg, I think, and I just like, I can't live without her. I love her and stuff. Like, he says it very, very casually, which I think is great.
It kind of like says it like he didn't think about anything else, I guess.
Yeah, he just thought about saving her and being by her side because he loved being beside her. Right? And you're
what
just
if
like,
my dad Zeus thing? Sure, son.
I mean, we actually went up to Olympus, which was cool.
that was cool. I don't remember too much from Hercules, honestly.
I mean, you fight the three Titans.
Hey, remember Ice Titan from Kingdom Hearts 1? Hey, guess what?
The Rock Titan is there too.
I just remember Ice Titan for being the one boss where you can't use arrow, or else he'll just use more powerful attacks. It's like the only boss that's like, hey, don't use this spell.
Oh yeah, no, there was two. There was the Rock Titan in Kingdom Hearts 1 and the Ice Titan. But this was the first time we ever got the Wind Titan.
Fucking tornado boy.
Yeah, that tornado with eyeballs. I was like, is this really the boss right now? And that was the first time where the game, I was like, please don't be air combat focused, because trying to catch that stupid tornado, I mean, it made me start using the zip links, like where you hold down is it
believe it
R1
or not,
and then
like,
you press square?
I think that may have been the intent because of how big the worlds are now. I'm just like, okay, now that I get this, and since time kind of slows down a bit, it gives you a moment to really go zip around. And I'm like, okay, this is working better, especially since flow motion has been big nerfed.
Yeah,
and it's just like, I guess it's like a compromise, because you're in general more mobile than ever. Probably not as much as Dream Drop, but still,
I like his variable speeds too. Like, there's that initial walk,
and then he picks up speed.
Really,
yeah, that feels great.
Then he picks up speed. That feels great because you can base certain like encounters, like when you enter them, by those speed levels too, and it changes how you engage at the very beginning. And I like that. I like the flow of combat. I will not take away from it, but the only thing is I felt like I started relying less on like the flashy, super cool moves and just relied on like very either super generalized, specific, or the easiest ones to execute to destroy enemies.
Yeah, early on, I used them a lot. I started using them less later on in the game because I was thinking more about situations where I'm just like, I don't really need this, but if there's like a big group, sure, I'll summon the teacups. And then, even then, like, at least one of my favorite things is, you can skip the animations. Thank you. That's so good. It's cool seeing it first time, but the ability to skip them is great. And even then, like, you don't have to do a finisher. If everyone's dead and you're still on it, you could just cancel out of it. That is great. I love it's better than just like, oh, nothing's here. Better use the giant nuke finisher. But
well, there's some moves that don't combo into one another anymore from like certain things in Kingdom Hearts 2 that I remember, and it's because they have this build up system with the form changing, right? So like it doesn't feel as fluid because it's not about linking certain moves together to hop around or neutralize a foe as quickly as possible or whatever. It feels like, oh, better start at level 1, then I get my level 2, and then I get my level 3, and then boom, fireworks, like it felt like this. They're trying to constantly reward you for hitting the X button by making you press triangle.
Or casting spells to like cast a higher level spell. That takes no magic.
It's just, and the use of making Cure just completely drain your MP, regardless of how much it's in it.
That was also a Kingdom Hearts 2 thing.
Yeah, which no, not completely. You can cure about I think it was twice with your MP on standard. I don't know about proud or critical.
I believe it did drain everything. It's just
okay.
And just like Kingdom Hearts 2, like, if you have a spell that, like you say you put it in your, like, shortcut or whatever, if it's highlighted yellow, that means you'll go into MP recharge after using it, which only happened to me with Cure, because any other time I used other spells, there would at least be maybe 1 MP left, which means I couldn't cast any other spell because I had insufficient MP, but I could still cast Cure, for example, but it's still kind of there, sort of similar to 2, at least from what I remember. Quick thing about air combat. Yeah, I mean, I don't think, I'm not a pro player. It didn't seem as floaty as previous installments. 2 wasn't. I'm just saying, like, post 2, games seem to be kind of floaty, and didn't seem like it with this game. And I think it also helps that, hey, you can block in the air. That's nice. It's like, because apparently you could never do that before. And I'm like, oh, that's very helpful, especially if there's a lot of stuff focusing on the air. That's a good retaliation method. And even then, there's some combos where you can actually perform a launcher, or you can slam them to the ground if you do a combo and then do circles. One of the abilities you could stack on. One other thing.
Now, one thing about the guarding though that I want to talk about is in Kingdom Hearts 2. I don't know whether this was a glitch or not with guarding, but just say someone was in like a flurry of attacks. And you pressed guard, a lot of the times it would guard your character for a certain amount of frames and make them invulnerable. So some of those extra hits wouldn't go off. I don't know how many times in this game that I guess I've been pre-programmed by 2 and other Kingdom Hearts that have used guard this way, that when I press guard, that, oh shit, I need to either double press it or press it like 3 times, like in proper succession, and do like proper guarding. Whether it's in the air or on the ground, because I get combo juggled, and I think I'm like, and I guard. Nope, sorry, you guarded the first one. It doesn't cancel or anything. You just get hit by it anyway. So you should have just waited till the end, or just avoided the attack, or mash the guard button.
It could be like maybe they reduced the frames after a successful guard. That could be it. I don't know the specific details. I know what you're getting at, though.
Yeah, because there's some final bosses that we may want to talk about later on that just
I keep preempting my guard early sometimes, and that always throws me through loop where it's just like, is he gonna do it? Guard, nothing, and
it's
then
like,
get
it's
hit.
like a mixture. It's like a mixture of a new guard system that is not the guard system that's been in place for a really long time, or that it's me just being a slower reactionary gamer now. As I get older, I'm just not as mentally sound as like an 18-year-old's mind firing their neurons off.
Devil
at
May
like
Cry 5 is going to be rough on you then.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, as I'm like, I'm going to be... Oh, man. 4, I put a lot of time and effort into, but that was a long time ago. So I'm interested to see how I feel about that. But regardless, it could be just sort of a mixture of those two things. But I do feel that they did fundamentally change guard, and I don't like it with the gameplay style that they choose. Because it's either you guard and it either interrupts the enemy or makes you vulnerable, like invulnerable enough so you can get away because you successfully did it. Or in some cases, it would allow you to interrupt their attacks by you attacking after a guard quickly.
I think this could be just like a learning type of thing where it's like, okay, still relatively new, trying to figure out how, like, what guarding works, like how to really do it. Just learn it, because you're not gonna like probably perfect it on your first try. At least that's how I feel. I mean, I've had trouble, especially like against the one super boss in the game, which did kill me, but I had a Kupo coin, so I revived and beat it anyways. I always got some weird mistiming on the guards, because like either it was too early or I just couldn't figure out when to really go in and attack. But it wasn't too bad. Probably one of the easiest super bosses in the franchise. At least out of the ones I played. I beat Sephiroth in KH2 way back. But never did any final mix bosses, or the worst boss fight in the biz, Birth by Sleep Mysterious Figure. It's terrible. It is a bad fight. I've seen videos on it, and I'm like, this is bad game design. Straight up. So
I have only beaten the organization reports and stuff like that. Like I've done the super bosses in KH2. I did Sephiroth and I did the organization, but I have not faced off against Terra or even in Kingdom Hearts 1, I haven't faced the mysterious stranger who we find out is... Or even
Sephiroth in that game? Did you do Sephiroth in that game?
Yeah. I did do Sephiroth in that game.
Or how about Julius, where you win by balloons in Dream Drop?
I never used
the balloon ones in that game, because at the time I didn't know. And then now that I know, I'm just like, that game's going to be ruined for me now. But back on track, one feature I loved, 3 keyblades mapped to left and right on the D-pad, and you could switch them. That is so nice, because especially now that there's keyblade form changes, which I do love, you can actually just kind of like form change into one thing, and you could switch the keyblade, and that will stay there. The meter will not go down. So you could actually hang on to it. So there is some planning you could do with that. There's nuances to combat that I feel probably may not be as deep as people have found of KH2, but I think is at least deep to a level that could be satisfying. But since the game's difficulty is relatively low across all difficulties, that may be a problem. Where it's like, look at all this cool stuff that isn't utilized fully.
Well, that's the thing, is like I felt, because it kind of feels like that this is the game. This is one of the only games where there isn't a lot of keyblades. There are just world keyblades, and
there are two that you probably missed. Because I missed them.
Like, did you get the Winnie the Pooh one? Because
I did. That's easy. But no, there's one for completing the bistro, and there's one for doing every Classic Kingdom thing. You get a frying pan with bistro. You can whack people with frying pan.
Okay, but now I want to know, what's its second form? Because I'll go back and I'll cook with Ratatouille
No, I think
hours.
frying pan is his only form, and its finisher is just tossing food everywhere that come from the heavens and just slam on. I don't remember what
I want to rain people with broccoli. Or is there broccoli
I don't
there?
remember. I just saw it once and went like, okay. All right,
this Keyblade is getting put away.
Okay, yeah, because by that time I had the Ultima weapon, which you don't need anything else after that. 1313, fucking max stats, can't upgrade it, set for life.
Yeah, that is one thing that I really like, though, is you can upgrade your Keyblades, too.
That is pretty cool. Before I got Ultima Weapon, I maxed out Wheel of Fate, which is, at the time, the best Keyblade, the Pirates one, because I'm like, the spear is
the
nice.
Pirates one's hands done.
And the flag's fine, but the spear is nice.
Yeah. The flag, I don't know. I had a lot of good uses of that flag. That spear is so good. It has a pretty good.
The flag has a pretty good finisher for like AOE. But I'll just tell you right now, you become Noctis when you get the Ultima weapon in form change. Your block, you have Keyblades surrounding you, and your finishers are like Keyblades coming out of nowhere. It's like,
are we talking? You mean like we're talking like Virgil Keyblades around you?
Not like pointing out, but just like actually kind of a wall similar to the thing in 15. I forget the name.
Oh, okay. The armature.
The armature. Yeah, that. Which.
Oh, okay. It's like that.
Yeah, it is kind of like that. And its final form. Well, actually, it only has one form before finisher, but its form change is a sword. Just a straight up sword. Your teleport. Oh man, I know you're probably not going to go back to the game, but
I will. I'm definitely going to go back. I want to play it a second time. But I don't want to play it right away. I want to sit. I wanted to sit on it.
I hope they do add a new game plus. I wish this is something the games had. Where I want to go through all the set piece moments, but just have all the equipment. I wish that's a thing, because it's not. Or at least right now it's not. But no, at least try and get the Ultima Keyblade, because it's nice. Or just look at footage, because
I was more into the story, so I just wanted to plow through as quickly as possible.
Believe me, I wanted to plow through without getting spoiled, and then after that I'm like, all right, cleanup time to just hunker down and do all menial bullshit. Now I have a platinum under my belt.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's good. I mean, gosh, getting all those white crabs must have been fun.
Well, you can also kind of grind with the ship, which you have to for 200 kills anyway.
True, yeah.
But hey, you get the Black Pearl as a selectable ship.
Nice.
It's whatever. Nothing really different. I think you have less aiming options, but whatever. You're decked out anyways. I think that's it for combat, except the
summons.
Oh, well,
or D-links.
I didn't want to talk about the links because a lot of them are worthless. I used a couple just for game record stuff. Simba's was cool. I know
Simba's was
I
good.
know why you weren't fond of Stitches, but I saw what they were going for.
That's the thing, is I see the potential of what they wanted to do with it, but after how good Stitch was in 2, I was really hoping that he would be the buff D-Link, the one that would, like, give you MP, or, like, heal you, or give you an attack boost, or other things like that. That's what I thought he would be. He would be the buff D-Link. And I was like, this is going to be great. And then he turns out to be this area of effect zap mechanic thing.
You just kind of, like, trap him over, like, make a shape.
Yeah. Aerial is really good,
Yeah,
too.
you just swim up. You just swim up and down.
Yeah.
The Dream Eater thing was alright. That was the first one you get. Wreck-It Ralph is terrible.
Yeah.
What were they thinking?
Right, I don't know, man.
Was that it? Is there another D-Link? They're not called D-Links. They're just Links. D-Link was birthed by shit.
Yeah, sorry. I saw something Link and I just say D-Link.
I don't remember what the last one was, unless that was it. I swear there was one more.
No, I don't.
I think that's it.
Think there was? I think that's it.
Yeah. I hadn't really no use. I tried it a couple of times to be like, don't need it. Don't really need any of these. I felt like that with some summons in the other games personally to me, but again, I guess there were some really good ones that I never saw potential in, where I'm like, okay, I see how this could be good, where I'm just like, I don't in this one, because you got like 500 other options that are way better.
Well, that's the thing, is like some of them were situational. Like Simba, I used Simba quite a lot. And it's interesting because I feel like I've used Simba in like every single game as a summon, and he's been good. Like he's never been not a good summon. He's sort of like Ifrit in Final Fantasy. They're just all around relatively nicely designed, and they do what they're supposed to. You know, like, and they don't have that little extra bit of weirdness or whatever. And that's the thing that I was saying about the teacups or the water. Like the water slide was like the weirdest one, where you have to create a reverse water slide thing while attacking other people. That was super weird.
Yeah. But I think overall, in terms of just the basic combat, I had as much fun as I had with previous games. I thought in both Dream Drop and Birth by Sleep, the cooldown system was like pretty alright. But I think once I went back to 3 and realized that, like, no, I did like 2's system better. It's just, I feel like in this game, they handled menuing so much better. You can have 3 shortcuts now that you can just cycle through. That is nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for magic and for other and like keyblades and other things like that. And you can save certain sets because you know it will help you in certain situations.
Yeah, so like, okay, I have one shortcut for certain magic. There's Cure in there. Another shortcut with other magic that wasn't being used. Cure is in there. And then the links, which I almost never used. But the fact that I could just like hold the shortcut and just D-pad that is... Mm-hmm. It's really nice. But in general, I did enjoy this game's combat. It is relatively easy, but I've always kind of played the games on standard. Never really tried for harder difficulties, especially since you don't need to play Proud or anything for the platinum in this game. The other games, though, oh fuck. Yeah,
you do. And some of them you have to do like level 1 critical mode, which I was quite surprised the game started you out with.
Yeah, you could just 0 XP and do that on Proud, which level 1 Proud is like the hardest thing you can do in the game, but even then, like...
Yeah, I mean, people have already beaten it, but like that's just because some people are just super diehards and they fucking love hard challenges.
Or they just speedrun the game.
Yeah.
Even though some speedrunners have been like, at least doing a natural playthrough to at least soak in the game first, because, you know...
Yeah, exactly.
They've been looking forward to it too, for the most part. But that's it for gameplay, except for the gummy ship. Which
That's true, yeah the gummy ship.
It's
like the best gummy ship in all of Kingdom Hearts, for me, personally.
Yeah, this is... Well, wow. Funny how gummy ships have only been in the numbered games. Like 1, 2, and 3. Never showed up anywhere else.
Yeah. You had that riding system where you you had that Keyblade motorcycle thing.
Keyblade motorcycle
in Birth by Sleep. Yeah, in Birth by Sleep.
But you don't do a mini game between worlds. You can fucking Star Fox race in Disneyland, but in general, you don't have to like warp between worlds like you did in the numbered games. Yeah, it is the best one here because you can just avoid combat. If you don't like that stuff, you can just go straight to the world. Except there are some bosses you have to encounter before then. But even then, usually you're equipped to just handle it and whatever.
Did you spend time building a ship for yourself, or did you just sort of, or did you like attach just stuff to? You went through the whole story with just the basic gummy ship. I just kept
buying new ships.
Oh,
because the further you progress, you could get like stuff like High Wind level 2, level 3, and then Peak near the end of the game. However, after I beat the game, I did do a little extra gummy ship stuff, and I'm like, no, this is fun. It's not incredible, but it's the best it's been, and I did like what they did with it. Especially when going for
because I spent, when I first got the gummy ship, I spent a good while out just exploring and fighting and getting a bunch of, build-a-parts.
I'm just so bad at creation, which is why, I'm just I probably would have tried to build the best ship in the game, but I didn't. I'll get into that in a bit while we still talk about gummy ships, because, oh boy.
But it was a good blend of all the things that you could, the good things that you can take out of gummy ships, right? Is the building aspect, there's a slight exploration, there is the score mini games that come back from Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix.
And getting A ranks awards you with extra stuff. So there's an incentive.
So there's an incentive to do it. So it just unlocks the whole experience right from the get-go. You don't get gated except for certain parts where you just can't get to bigger and stronger areas to fight harder monsters. But still, I was quite surprised that it's a little game in and of itself. Really, if you're into build a ship type of mechanics. I usually like to make very flat based frontal fire cone ships that just bombard that center mass with crap.
People like making donut ships so they don't get hit.
Yeah, there's donut ships. There's I saw one guy that had a middle finger ship that he built. So he's just going through and just giving everyone the bird. I'm glad that there's some sort of little game inside Kingdom Hearts that some people are just having fun with.
There's one thing that confused me: the constellations. Because when tutorials me, it's all right, take a photo of the constellations, and I'm like, oh, you mean that nebula there? It's no, that's the background. So the whole game, I never found a constellation, and it turns out they're just actual dots. And I'm just fuck.
They're actually just in the space.
Yeah, I'm I kept looking around. I found some treasures and stuff, but I'm just I couldn't find any until I looked at a guide. I'm just oh, I thought.
Oh, I came across one very early on, so I just assumed all the constellations are like this. They're not in the space background. They're actual,
you have to go in the world. See, I got fooled there. But after I beat the game, I did go back and do that stuff and found the constellations. All of them except one are pretty much Final Fantasy.
That's the most Final Fantasy you're getting out of this.
Yeah, exactly.
And even though you joked about the stupid Cactuar, it doesn't count. Cactuar
and Dissidia doesn't count either. By the way, since we're on that subject, Nomura did say this. The reason Final Fantasy wasn't as prominent is because, in a way, he's not wrong, but it's just based on the idea of a crossover. Back then, it was kind of special, but now that, Smash exists, he's just but even then, it's hey, if fans want it, whenever we do the next one, he'll probably put him back in. So he is listening to that.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing is like the reason why I like the Final Fantasy characters in Kingdom Hearts, and I never really complain about their very minor role in everything. Like, yes, like it was cool to see Cloud in the Colosseum in the first game, but he doesn't really do anything. And then in Kingdom Hearts 2, he comes back and you do a couple of missions with them, but it's because you're helping them rebuild the world that they're from.
Yeah, because they lost
like,
their
there's this
world.
like little tiny story that's happening in the background where it's just about the Final Fantasy characters, and then you go about and do more Kingdom Hearts and more Disney stuff. Whereas it felt like that was a part of Kingdom Hearts. They always threw in a Final Fantasy character in the main entries. And that's why, like, I mean, there wasn't any I can remember in Dream Drop.
All you had was the world ends with you.
Yeah, they are the only people, like, they were the Final Fantasy in that Kingdom Hearts. Even though they're technically not Final Fantasy.
They were the Square property. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bummer. It didn't bother me too much, but the more I think about it, I'm just like, kind of wish they did, because it feels like something since 2 hadn't been resolved with those characters. It's just like, we just gotta assume, alright, everything's good.
Yeah, like Squall didn't want to come and help
Leon.
Sora.
My name's Leon.
Yeah, Leon, like Eris, like they're just not going to come and help us. And Tifa, they're just not. Even though they're like, we'll follow you to the end of the earth, Sora. We're friends forever. Our bonds are straight. And then they're just not
Merlin
there.
got to get away from fucking Radiant Garden. And he's like, oh, by the way, what the hell happened to the book?
I told you he was going to do something. I was like, Unreal, clap, clap, clap. I saw it. I'm like, look, there he is. There's Yensid.
Oh, what? You mean?
Oh, wait, no, you were talking about Merlin. Shit, he's a different guy.
We'll get to Yensid.
Okay.
But no, Merlin, which, of course, we forgot to talk about Winnie the Pooh, but it's very minimal. It's just the same kind of minigame 3 times. It's not a bad minigame, but you're really only there to just kind of get ingredients for the chef minigame, because there's some ingredients there that you can't get anywhere else. Now,
gotcha.
I hope you could find some ingredients around here.
God damn it. Yeah, I know that meme is starting to circle around.
Before I go back to Gummy Ship, I did want to bring this up. I do like that the characters had more interaction in the world, like speaking to each other. I feel like, for example, Final Fantasy 15, that was something I really liked. But Kingdom Hearts 3 does it worse in 2 ways. Number 1, way more limited dialogue. It's like cool the first time, but then guess what? The dialogue, depending on worlds and stuff, especially when I was grinding, there are exact trigger points. Exact. Where you go to a specific spot, you will always hear that same line. Not ingredients or something, but like Frozen World, you go to this one spot, I love snow! Oh, so much fun!
Yeah. That was gonna be my third add-on to your thing and the problem is that it's Donald and Goofy, and not. I like Donald and Goofy in this. I thought that was really, I really liked their dynamic. I've always liked it in Kingdom Hearts, but
yeah,
I don't want to hear extended conversations between Donald and Goofy any more than I have to.
My biggest problem...
It's either incredibly important or they're bitching about something.
My biggest problem eventually came with specifically Donald with the ingredients. His line reading for that is so dragged out that you just get sick of hearing it. Yeah, Goofy repeats it, but it's over quicker. Source is over quicker. Donald feels like 10 full seconds of ingredients. There was a point when I was just grinding and I was in a Discord call with Blondie, fellow friend and RCG member, etc., where I would just said, if I hear Donald one more time, I am ejecting the disc without saving. And it's like the game heard me. Because there were a long period of time where I just didn't save after finding treasures, and I'm like, please don't, because I will eject the disc. And it happened once right near the end, and I'm just like, you're lucky. You're lucky that it was just Goofy taking the bullet. Yeah, it's just like, I liked the conversations, but it's so limited. And 15 had repeating lines, but it felt more varied. And of course, Ignis ain't Donald, so him just talking about recipes is just like, it's like that's like satisfying.
That's endearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's endearing. Like it's just because he's like, this is the type of guy he is. He's like, oh my god, I've got a new recipe.
I just wish they pulled a DuckTales where just one random moment where Donald Duck goes normal Don Cheadle voice instead of Donald voice. Because that's something that happened in the new DuckTales.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wish that happened. Just no context out of nowhere. No explanation. I would have loved that.
Yeah.
But
and everybody's just staring at him. Or like after his quote unquote something that happens to him later in this discussion. That changes him into Don. Yeah.
No, I want to get back to the gummy ship quickly because
Okay.
there is actually one extra crossover that I wasn't aware of because I know nothing about it. So Squaresoft, well, formerly Squaresoft, they released a game on PlayStation 1 called Einhander. Do you know what Einhander is?
Einhander. That's not that fighting
No,
game.
that is
that's Air
Air
Guys.
Guys.
That's it.
Oh
That's Air
god,
Guys.
God bless the ring.
God bless
God
the ring.
bless. No, Air Guy. No, fucking, I said Air Guys.
I'm sorry. I polluted that.
no.
I polluted. No, I have
Oh
not.
my
I have
God.
not heard of
So
it. I had a brief moment where I was like, "Is that Air Guys?" I
no,
can't
so
remember. Or is he
Einhander
saying it
is a shoot 'em up game that Square made.
Okay.
I never heard of it. It's kind of like a cult game. So the gummy ship has a secret boss, and you need like a ship speed of 200 to get into this. You probably saw this vortex. It's like this blue vortex in the second
Yes.
world. That is where the secret boss lives. You can't get in
Okay.
unless your ship's at 200. But one of the constellations is the ship you pilot. It's not called the Einhander. It was something else. I don't remember the name, but
It's Air Guys.
it is
now.
not Air Guys. But,
it's
but
the Air
that
Guys.
ship actually has 200 speed, and I used it. You go in, and it plays a song that isn't Kingdom Hearts. They took a song straight from Einhander because the boss you fight is from Einhander.
Oh wow.
And I'm just like, what is this awesome song? This is like better than any other gummy ship song I've heard. I'm like, I'm digging this. The fight took a while because, well, he's kind of a bullet sponge. And then I'm just like, oh, that was fun. Now I have the best ship in the game, the Golden Highwind, that just decimates everything. People have said you need to get an A rank to do that, but I got a B rank and got the ship, and I'm like, all right.
Oh, okay. Maybe there's like a drop rate, like you automatically get it with an A, but if you get a B, then you
No,
have a
I
chance of
think
getting
you just
it
have to
still?
beat it just for it. I think
okay.
people are just kind of japing. I don't know. But I fought it again as Golden Highwind, and the music was different. It was a remix of the song. So it turns out, if you go into the ship with the Einhander ship against the boss, they just take the track from the PlayStation game instead of the remix. The track is called Thermosphere. Look it up, CJ, after we're done. It's pretty cool.
All right, I will. Yeah, they did that with the 24-man stuff in 14, where they just like, instead of making new music for the Tactics Evilly stuff, they just took the songs from Final Fantasy Tactics and just put them as the background, and it works perfectly.
But it
just
is
because
still
they're
cool
so
that
good.
like, even if you don't use that ship, they still remixed the Thermosphere song.
Yeah.
And then I looked up Einhander gameplay, and I'm just like, it's got the same moves, it's got the same attacks, and it's just, a lot of people are like, who
It
the
makes
like,
sense.
how did Square remember Einhander? Because I personally never heard of it. People that probably play Kingdom Hearts 3 are probably like, holy shit, wow. So yeah, that got more representation than Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Well, I guess.
Now we gotta talk about the big elephant in the room.
Wait, did you finish up your gummy talk?
Which is that? Yes, we're finished. The
Okay,
gummy
so
talk.
you're good.
We are
All right,
moving on.
Then we're done. I guess in quick closing, we both enjoyed the gameplay.
Yes, we both incredibly enjoyed the gameplay.
whole, I would recommend it straight on that.
It had a couple of times at the very beginning where it was making me go, but then I got used to it, and then I loved it. It was very abusable, but I loved it nonetheless.
I'd argue
now the big elephant in the room. Okay. There's a giant book of lore that needs to be discussed.
Yes, if you go to the main,
what the hell happened in this game?
If you go to the main menu and go to memories, you've got 5 books of lore.
So if you're listening to this and you don't care about spoilers, but you're thinking of hopping into Kingdom Hearts, please just watch that. You know, like it's very helpful. The narrator is kind of annoying, but you just
Kari from Digimon. The first thing I heard, I'm just like, Kari, what? Oh god. Oh.
So Kari from Digimon, she narrates it. So enjoy.
Can I just say the recaps do a bad job?
They do. Oh, they definitely do.
It's got the bare minimum, but it misses a lot of stuff. And I'm just like, man, Yakuza did this better. I mean, Yakuza 6 had the same problem where it did the 5 games all text, but it missed some key stuff. But Yakuza 4 recapped the first 3 games in length way better.
Well, like, the thing is even the story about, like, Roxas, Axel, and Shion, I was like, this was a lot more important, but you don't really explain why, which is, like, really, really bad on why her reveal is so big. That she was plucked out of time by Xehanort towards the end. And it's like, that doesn't really give you the moment. It's like, oh, okay, she was just in the storybook, so that's why. They don't really realize that she is, like, some weird, like, fake construct of, like, broken memories. And how she could actually exist, but then Sora can exist in his current form. And then, like, to know that time travel and all that bullshit starts happening, it just makes it, like, it only brushes the surface of how much that is a big deal. But I guess we should go in a little bit of an order.
Yeah, let's go in. I think it's best if we do go in order. Yeah, we were just kind of talking about the memories thing. Is that, like, I appreciate the attempt. It wasn't good enough. And this is someone that was caught up. I'm just like, there's some stuff missing. There's quite a bit of stuff missing.
I mean, they generalized it enough. I guess. Like, I'm okay. I guess, like, that's all it needed.
The game loves to, like, I guess I'll just say, in a general sense, the game likes having characters talk about stuff that has happened in the previous games. Almost as if, hey, are you new to this? Let's explain what happened as it's going on. As in, like, who's this person? Oh, don't remember? It's this thing from when this happened. And it happens through the whole
like the first
game.
Time we see... Yeah, the first time we see Riku and Mickey, it's like very starting. So, where are we going, Mickey? Oh, well, we're in the world of darkness because we're searching for Aqua. You're just like...
You were just sent Riku? Like, how did you forget? It's like,
No. It's like either in this suggestion, it's either suggest that Riku completely forgot why the fuck he was there, and by the way, he is now a Keyblade master.
Yeah, he earned that after Dream Drop.
Yeah, he earned that after Dream Drop. So either it makes him look like a moron, or it makes Mickey seem like he thinks that Riku's a moron. You know, so great chemistry. Every time I hear that type of stuff, I'm just like, we're in, like, I don't mind where it's like, the further we go into the world of darkness, the stronger the enemies become. If he says something like that, it is
God,
exposition, it still feels more natural. It feels like I would ask you, like, if me and you were walking down the plains of darkness, and I say, as we get deeper into this world of darkness, you would just respond. It would feel natural. It didn't feel like, oh, this time on the Mickey and Riku show. You know? And that's that's the problem with Mickey and Riku for a good portion of the beginning part of the game, is that they're sort of just like bits and pieces just thrown in as like, this is what's happening here. And surprisingly enough, I'm like, can I just stay with Riku and Mickey? This seems like a lot more interesting.
We gotta stay with David Gallagher and Mouse.
Yeah, I know. But that's the thing. Like, I was more invested in what Mickey and Riku were doing than what Sora was doing. And I guess the thing about Sora is maybe it's just his like over positivity. He like has quote unquote down moments, but they don't last very long.
Well, he's just
generally positive. Yeah, he's just generally always positive. I guess I'm at this point where I'm like, there's two things. Maybe I just don't get that because I've just my whole life I've been going back and forth from being super nice to people and then having to be mean to people and all that type of stuff, or that it's just so jarring and I just want to punch him. You know, he's just so positive, and you just want this kid
parts
needs
of the game
reality
where there are some worlds they go to. It's like, what are we doing here? He's like, beats me, and I'm like, why? Why do you not know why you're here? We piloted here, and you're like, I don't know. I guess we have something to do.
Well, that's him. That's him in a nutshell. I mean, the very beginning of the game starts out, by the way, with 2.9 just to stab us a little bit.
I thought they were just being playful. Also, quick recap, Sora forgot a lot of his abilities because of the end of Dream Drop where he almost got fucked by Xehanort.
He got darkened.
He got darkened, imprisoning me.
Yeah, he almost got Norded.
Yeah, which is why like Riku became the master because he saved him and did the big thing. Sora's like, oh, you forgot shit. Relearn it. Where do I go? Okay, we go to the land of 2.9, which is Olympus Coliseum, which I guess, considering that it is the most recurring world in the franchise, it may as well be 2.9.
Yeah, it is in all three games.
Yeah, but this is the first where it's like not Coliseum. Well, not true. There's the underworld in Kingdom Hearts 2, but in terms of actual Mount Olympus, it's like, hey, it's an actual new area since 2. It isn't just fight.
Oh yeah, no. Like all of that has been culminating for like a really, really long time. And like Sora as a character, he has to be infallible. He has to be that pure of heart. So there's always hope, even when he's at his like darkest dark or whatever. Where there's like that whole thing where he has to go to the lowest point to really understand what needs to be done, and then breaks free from, I guess, destiny in some sort of way. So his positivity is super necessary, but he has like the mind of like a 7-year-old kid, but he's supposed to be, you know, like heading into his adulthood. Like he should be like 6. I think he's like 16 or 17 now.
I don't know. I actually don't know this age gap.
The age gap is so weird. Like I really understand. Like there's just like the difference between what you thought was super super cool when you were like a kid to like when you were getting into your teens and into your adulthood, and your perception of those same things, right? He has that all the time. And that's why he pulls me out of it a lot of the times. Not until the later part of the game where I was like totally on board with Sora at that point.
It's like that took you 30 hours.
Okay, yeah, like actually, to be frank, the first part of this entire thing, I really just stayed that all the Disney worlds were completely and utterly pointless for the story.
Although
the only thing that they did was set up the fact that Pete and Maleficent were looking for a box. That's all they were there for. because they talked about boxes. Obviously, yes, they sprinkle in Organization 13 members to be like, Sora, are you dark yet? I hope you're
Even
not
then,
dark.
I think
You're the light.
some members were also looking for the box. Like, I think the most obvious one is like, I don't know if it's pronounced Luxord or Lusord. You know, Robin Atkin Downs, card dealer.
Yeah, Luxord.
Fucking Yu-Gi-Oh!
Luxord.
He was specifically looking for the box with the heart in it, and it's just like, oh, that's not it. It's like, no, that's just some gross
he's
shit.
Actually,
nah.
He's not looking for the box. He's looking for Davy Jones's heart box. He's actually looking for that.
Yeah, but
because he wants to control that so he can plunge this world farther into darkness, because that's what it represents.
Yeah, I guess I misremembered that one then.
The box that Zigbar is referring to. That's why he became the most blatantly obvious person to me. Like right out the gate was his like weird connection to this. He just mentions the box in passing, and then obviously they cut him off a bunch. They just like Sora jumps away or does something, and then it like cuts straight black, and then to the next scene, as if he was supposed to say something or do something.
I'll go back into that at the end because I feel stupid. Because I'm just like, oh, I probably should have seen it, and that extends outside of Kingdom Hearts 3. But I'll wait on that.
Oh yes, it does. That's the thing. Is it all like? I didn't just pull Zigbar out of my butt when I was talking to you about it.
I know. We beat the game. We're aware.
Yeah. But like, it's not like, to me, I like it as a twist. It's just, man, you should have hit it a lot better. Because it looked like you were trying to hide it.
Yeah, there were some parts where I'm just like, it's like I'm not entirely sure, but I'm just like, I think CJ's winning a bet. Oh, let me just preface that we had some friendly wagers, nothing that we ever confirmed, but we just kind of had some predictions going in. Yes. I'll just tell you right now, I may have won exactly one friendly wager while you won probably 20.
Yeah, just because of how the story is constructed.
I will try and point out from memory which ones I remember were your predictions. I think realistically I maybe counted 5 or 6, but one of them was you calling all the Zigbar stuff. So that's technically 2 related to the box and Zigbar himself. So that's 2 wagers you won that we'll explain later why he won those bets.
Yeah. But like these are the keystones, and I guess it's because of how structured the Kingdom Hearts story is in its base form. Like obviously there's all these offshoots, all these little things that you don't need to think about. However, when Nomura wants to quote unquote put something subtly, he puts it in gigantic fucking question marks that you're just like, oh, that's what you meant. Like, instead of, it's sort of like that in-joke you have with a friend, where you nudge them and, hot dogs, and then you both go, ha 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 ha, hot dogs. But you're like, there's no context to that, but between you and your friend, it's like the funniest story ever. And it's the same thing with Nomura, is he has such a blatant tell about certain key plot things that you can predict the future. Because he doesn't know how to do things subtly, or his subtlety is so easy to pick out now. It's either of the two.
So,
but I'm glad that the final boss was still the final boss.
Still,
it wasn't some random fucker that just comes out of nowhere.
Oh, there's some random fuckers.
I know there's some random fuckers, but I'm just talking about, like, I was waiting for, this is a classic Nomura, that he pulls out this other final boss at the end that makes no sense to the overall, like, story, and I'm glad that they did not follow that trope in this game. Xehanort is the final boss.
That was good. We'll go into that, because later...
yeah.
So Olympus just happens. Yeah, like it's just kind of like I don't know if it followed the late structure of the Hercules movie. It's been too long, and I don't remember really seeing much of it. So yeah, I wouldn't know.
I think this followed a little bit of Hercules too, like the whole like summoning the Titans and everything. That is a Hercules 2 movie plot, I believe.
Okay.
But one thing that I did like about it was they sort of honored that part of the part where Orin and Cloud and other people were in the story. Like, just to not make it seem like out of his ass, he could have just pulled these fucking Titans or something. You know, like, why didn't you start with them? Like, that type of mentality. Because of how effective they seem to be.
Yeah.
But, like, from there,
Sora kind of just...
Like, I will say why we're there. I understand why we're there, because Sora's looking for the strength of heart. He's taking where his heart needs to go is to be told the power of waking. And like I said, Hercules pretty much spells it out for him.
And he doesn't really
when he talks when he talks about his strength. But that's the thing, he talks about his strength, not his heart. Like, because this is why Sora's dumb, because he doesn't see parallels. He never does. It has to either like,
well, I did lose my powers, maybe I should just level up again.
Maybe I can just relearn them. And also, to be frank, it seems that his powers are way better now than they ever were before, and that's before he relearns them.
Yeah, like
the teapot and shit like that.
He just kind of
do that before.
Like, during what we'll call 2.9 land, he just somehow knows how to do attraction commands, which for something it's like you kind of forgot. Though that was something you could not do in Dream Drop ever. I don't know what happened. He wasn't even given the new outfit until after that, and that's when Kingdom Hearts 3 starts. It would have made more sense. It's like, hey, don't introduce those attraction commands until, like, after. But then you wouldn't have that Rock Titan fight with the train for spectacle. So,
yeah, I know. That's the thing. The spectacle sort of outweighed some of the story elements of it. Like, I didn't mind some of them. Like, the train was really cool, like, because it allowed to be, like, part of the set piece, because I think they did it in the Pirates of the Caribbean thing, too, didn't they?
The train?
Well, it's not a train. It's, like, this weird fly thing.
Oh, yeah, you just fly on the enemies and attack the thing. So it wasn't even an attraction thing, it's just, like, you just...
I thought you could summon the train on that one.
No, the train comes back near the end of the game where you're fucking killing 1 million troops.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. There's the bombardment train thing. Oh boy. they just had to do that again, didn't they?
The engine looks way better. And you can actually technically kill the background this time.
Yeah. So that's nice. That was one nice thing. But yeah, no. So, like we're saying, they joke about all that, and then we just say, all right, yeah, now get your new clothes. You got new powers. You got super good clothes. It helps you against darkness. I don't know how. They never explain how these clothes work.
You can thank the 3 fairy godmothers for making this one again.
Yeah, they're just it's fairy godmothers. Fucking fairy magic. That's what it is.
They're not on screen, but they have done it in the past.
I think Jensen even mentions that the fairies
they did.
made
That's
it
why I brought
specifically
them
for
up.
them. Yeah. But yeah, so then his first order of business is to go to Toy Story Land.
What? Order? I can't do Donald. I don't want to. Just... yeah, just remember the order. Don't forget.
The order.
Gotta remind Sora about the order, as in... Stop meddling in other worlds despite the Heartless, unversed, and nobodies meddling in the other worlds. So it's just the fuck.
Yeah, and regardless of that, also, just in that cutscene, he's like, and Mickey and Riku come back and they're like, man, it's crazy down there, and they get all the stuff, and then Sora's like, let me come with you, I'm gonna help and bring back Aqua, and they're like, no, you have to do this thing because you're not a Keyblade master.
Like, you will just immediately fucking get taken over. Also,
and then I'm sorry, but I know I'm jumping ahead, but like all the Disney worlds happen he learns nothing and then goes into the world of darkness anyway.
Via Destiny
So he
Islands.
could've-
Like, by the way, he found his E3 trailer shot Keyblade. I'm just
Yeah,
they just
exactly.
actually did still use that shot for the most part. And
Right?
then
so
the door opens.
entered the world of darkness at any point.
All because David Gallagher just said the
problem.
word Sora, which, by the way, this was bet 3, him coming from the Jesus heavens and fucking saving the day. When I saw that, I'm like, oh man, CJ's winning this bet that we didn't actually bet on.
Yeah, no.
So that's actually 3. We jumped
going.
the gun, but I'm just like, oh my god.
I knew it. I knew they were gonna pull this bullshit because there's no other, like, the Disney worlds were not giving Sora. They were hinting at Sora what he needed to do, like the idea of love is a huge presence in all of the Disney worlds in this one. The idea that love and connection is the most important thing. Like, it doesn't have to be just love between a romantic relationship, but also love between comrades and friends and everything. That's the power he needs. And that's
the connection.
What the Disney that's what all the Disney worlds represent as a whole. However, they weren't unique stories that threw in Donald and Goofy to make it plausible.
Toy Story, I think, had the most liberties taken.
Monsters, Inc. was also pretty good at that, where it was sort of like a continuation of the movie, not like, hey, it's just the movie, and that's what Tangled was, that's what Frozen was.
That's actually also what Pirates was.
Yeah,
which I learned, I was just like, no,
too.
that is structured this thing. Okay, knock that down. And that's Big Hero 6
Actually,
was also...
no, some of the cutscenes are different because Jack has his hat on in them when he has them off.
Don't worry about it.
Different scenes completely.
And then Big Hero 6 also has, like, kind of its own thing.
It's like, it feels like it takes place either, like, just after the movie where they still haven't, like, completely developed their abilities to, like, sky level of attack or whatever. So it feels like Sora's just sort of aiding them in their quest to get better and protect the city easier.
I do want to speed through the Disney worlds because there's some moments.
There are, the Disney worlds. That's the thing, is the Disney worlds had sprinkles of organization members popping up. But
I am not talking about that. I'm talking about.
Okay.
For example, in Toy Story, Woody just straight up telling Xandor, I don't give a fuck what you're saying. I don't understand. I bet nobody loved you. And I'm like, what? I'm just like, I can't believe Tom Hanks' brother, who is voicing Woody in this, by the way.
Okay.
Don't know who did Buzz. It's not Tim Allen. But, like, just... especially one of the shots where, like, they looked at the boot that said Andy on it, and it's just like in the dark void, and it's just like the Andy boot. I was almost gonna go into hysterics just because of the way it was framed, but as well as Woody telling off this dude. I'm just like, what the fuck is this game? I'm just like, maybe this is why I get some weird enjoyment out of
itself into greatness, but that's the thing, is like, those are like little moments where, like, oh, they like broke the movie and they had this like little moment between two characters from completely different universes have this like weird, funny, but yet memorable moment together.
Like, it's
super
just
straight.
Like, what the fuck? And then of course, like, the little genuine stuff. I mean, back with Toy Story, it's like when fucking Woody lassos and says Buzz, and it just zips back and plays the fucking toy audio. I forget what it was, but not like, you're my favorite deputy. I'm just like, yeah, okay, all right, game.
I have to give them credit that the Disney worlds themselves, just like compartmentalized from the rest of the game, are not bad. They're not bad. Some of them are really, really fun. It's just, in other games, in other Kingdom Hearts games, they were intertwined with not just the Kingdom Hearts characters, but also Final Fantasy characters or other things. So there was sort of like a mix match of these worlds, and they told unique stories in them that did sometimes have like the same like sort of events happening. Like Tarzan is a good example of the same sort of stuff happens in Tarzan, except things get off the rail when you see fucking Clancy riding like a giant chameleon.
No, that's Clayton.
I
just wanted to say, I don't remember how that was structured in 2. I just remember you would visit the worlds twice, and different stuff would happen.
Yeah.
I do remember Kingdom Hearts 1, how it was connected together, because the Princesses of Light. And I'm just like, okay, that actually has a purpose, in a way, to the overall plot, because they're just taking the Disney princesses plus Kairi.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh,
plus my OC. Shh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here it's just like, hey, don't bother with stuff. Why? I'm not saying. And then it's just like kind of playing a game where Sora's just really just trying to learn like something that, I don't know. It just feels way more like, inconsequential in this one as a result.
It's because they were clumped together under one big story arc. Because that's what the worlds were designed. Like I said earlier, it felt as if they were designed to reinforce what the power of waking was. And by doing that, unfortunately, it just felt like they were sort of like just rehashing things. Like, man, Frozen.
That was my least favorite world, because I'm just like, I don't feel like I'm a part of this. I don't feel like I'm making an impact at all. Everything happens
it feels like
away from our heroes. Like, for example, you just see a moment where the bad guy from Frozen is just walking covered in darkness. You don't see him again. And then later, at the end, you see him dead on the ground while Anna is frozen. And then boss fight with the moon from Majora's Mask. Well, that's one of the moves, I guess, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I've never seen Frozen, so I'm just like, what happened? Like, who is that? Is that the guy that said no one loves anyone? Is that where that's from? I guess. And also, this game has 3 stabbings rated E for everyone.
Yeah. But no blood.
No blood. But
no blood.
But yeah, nothing too much with.
But man, this is the thing. Like, a stab to me is like, oh my gosh, I stabbed him, right? But like the way that someone unlocks someone's heart in this game, a lot of the time, I'm like, damn, that looks real fucking frightening. Like, the characters themselves are usually not okay with what's going on, you know? So like, that seemed to be more traumatizing. But I guess because it's fantasy, it's like, well, no one will actually ever feel that real pain.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, like, you can only imagine what your heart being unlocked by a giant key thing would feel like. So...
but before we briefly talk about Tangled, because there isn't much there either, it's also just the movie.
It's not in there.
Back with Toy Story, you should have seen the look on my face when you first entered the world. I'm just like, the fuck is this? And then the more I got on, I was like, oh, it's probably commercial. And I was right. But I'm just like, the budget on this. So I'm just like...
You know why that thing has a budget?
I want to talk about that later. I know exactly why.
Okay, you want to talk about that specific thing later?
That is for the very, very end. Because it kind of has...
It makes sense. Yeah, it's starting to make sense now, isn't it?
I guess, but it's also kind of funny, too. Initially, I thought it's just like, wow, Riku looks better. Well, kind of. It's like, Riku's got a gun now. And I'm just like, yeah, that's probably like a nod to 15. We're going to talk about that later.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it later. And like, that's my only like smile to it, that I'm like, oh boy, like I can... Maybe there's hope that there's going to be something with Final Fantasy really like properly mixed in down the road. But we can only speculate at this point.
Tangled, nothing really happens.
Same thing with Frozen. A lot of the stuff happens regardless of it, and it feels like that you know that meme where they Photoshop what's his face from that movie. Oh gosh, wow! I just completely blanked on this.
You're losing me.
The guy with the glasses. He's with Samuel L. Jackson.
Guy with glasses, Samuel
where he's
Jackson.
like standing out there, and what's that actor's name?
Guy with glasses, Samuel Jackson.
You know that movie that Quentin Tarantino directed,
Pulp Fiction.
that has Samuel Jackson. Pulp
Wait,
Fiction.
you mean John Travolta? He doesn't
John
have glasses.
Travolta, yes.
You mean
that,
the one where he just looks around and there's fucking nothing? Okay.
Where that's what that feels like. That feels like whenever I see Sora and Goofy and Donald in these shots, it feels like that meme. It always feels like that meme. They're there and they're reacting to what is happening, but it seems like no one cares.
I feel like, believe it or not, I feel like the Tangle World did it better, mainly because for like the first half, they're pretty much with you. That feels like a whole interaction, and then, then once Rapunzel, once Rapunzel goes away, and also that's the only party member in the game. It's like she just gave everything back to you, and I'm like, what? And it turns out she's never in your party ever again for plot reasons. So I'm just like, well, guess I'll never see that moveset ever again. Better YouTube footage it for a review. Shit.
Yeah.
In terms of Frozen, way less. It's like you run into Frozen Girl once. It's just like, hey, why are you running away? Wah.
Elsa. Yeah, you run into Elsa
and then
first.
You kind of just run into Anna's group for a bit. He's like, hey, find Olaf's pieces together. And then
actually, Olaf was more part of your story than any of them.
You never see them again. Never. They are gone for the rest. And it's like, for the whole world, you have no party member until you fight Marshmallow Dude, and then he just becomes your party member. And I'm just like, this does not feel special at all. This feels so phoned in.
Yeah,
I kind of wish.
This is the thing. Is this why
I kind of wish they did something interesting and have Elsa as a party member, and just even if it was a brief stint, it's like, hey, she's got ice powers. What can we do with a moveset? Disney's like, nah, make Frozen 2. We can borrow Nomura worlds. Watch the trailer. Yeah. We're not making this up.
Yeah, but like that's the thing too, though, is like Elsa could have been part of the final boss.
Yeah,
there was nothing stopping her from being.
You're in a doom circle instead. You just kind of get into your own arena.
Yeah, like, and I hate. I've always hated that it's like, the darkness wall comes up. It feels like a fucking duel in Yu-Gi-Oh, where they just get like surrounded by darkness, and you're just like, oh, okay, I guess we're in the Shadow Realm now.
Summon Will Smith Genie for 500 life points.
So, like, and that, like, it's being televised to, like, hundreds of thousands of people because everybody likes duel monsters in that universe, right? So all they're doing is staring at this black cloud for, like, ages while this card game is happening underneath in the clouds of darkness. And that's the thing. It's like, what do those Frozen characters do while we're doing that? Also, it'd be like, well, I have these ice powers.
I'm grieving my sister right now. Also, Hans is dead. That's his name. I had to look it up. I never watched the movie. I'm just like, who was it? Okay.
Yeah, Hans was the bait and switch villain. He was
good job, game.
I'm actually an asshole.
Good job for giving me no reason to care about anything that has happened. We just had to watch a scene for scene recreation of the quote-unquote song of the decade, Let It Go, by Miss Frozen.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is it's like, Disney's like, if we do this has to be Frozen. You can't do anything with it. It's pure the way it is, because it will tarnish its name if you do fuck it up, or you try too hard. Or you go too anime or something. And do you think
that happened with Tangled also? Because I think those were the two that had the most interference, but Frozen was the most obvious interference.
Yeah, I would hope that Tangled, because Tangled didn't do too well. It did, especially against Frozen, or even there was the other one, Brave. Brave did better than Tangled.
I haven't even seen Brave. I don't really go to the movies
but the
anymore.
Brave World would have been amazing, because if it would just give Sora a beard just for the hell of it, it would have been hilarious. But that's the thing, is like, they didn't... These worlds, like, and I was just about to say earlier that it felt as if I'm playing Sora with Donald and Goofy, and it seems that Donald, Goofy, and Sora give no shit, really, about what's going on in these worlds. They just sort of, like, fall upon them, and then are just looking in their own directions, and then do what they want when they need to. It doesn't feel rushed. It doesn't feel like they really care that they're there. So that's why the Disney worlds, just to me personally, and I think we should probably move on because there's a lot more to unpack within the final.
We're almost done with Disney worlds.
Game.
I want to briefly touch upon Monstropolis. Probably not Pirates.
Okay.
That could be super brief because it's also more movie based. But I do want to go small bit into Big Hero 6 after those two, because there was one part.
Okay, yes,
there was one part with Big Hero 6 that I kind of just flipped out at in a negative way, because I'm just
okay.
What? So okay, quick thing.
That was one of my calls too.
What was your?
That was.
I don't remember your Big Hero call.
My Big Hero call was that we were going to see Riku again.
I don't remember that.
Be a
I don't remember
Riku.
that, but okay, I believe you.
But yeah, no, that Norded Riku, I was like, he comes out and is like, Riku, is that you? I'm like, oh my god, Xehanort decided to go back to Kingdom Hearts 1 during the time that Riku was infected by him.
Wasn't it Replica from Chain of Memories, Riku? I think it may have been that one.
No, it wasn't, because this is the thing, is the Replica is dead. The Replica has been
time
killed.
Travel.
His soul is in Riku, though. He lost his physical form, but that soul that carried on from there, that found closure.
No, I thought they grabbed they grabbed the replica before the replica died, because time travel. You could just grab it from a moment.
Yeah, they got the replica and they used him. But no, like it's Ansem. He recruited the Ansem Riku. So that was in Kingdom Hearts 1.
But wouldn't that kill real Riku if other Riku's dead?
Well, no, because it's time travel, and they talk about there's split dimensions, right? That's why he can pull himself from the past to the present.
Eat my anus.
Yeah. So like it's not the clone. Because the clone soul is in Riku.
That I do know the soul's in there. I remember that.
Ansem Riku to some Jesus place. And I don't know the full context of that. That was super weird. But like, that's not Replica Riku. That is Riku possessed by Ansem, who is now possessed by Xehanort.
Well, you did say dimension, because I would have been like, if there was just one dimension and it was all time travel, killing that Riku would kill our current Riku.
Yes, but that's not what happened.
That's because this game's rated E for
See how
it's a baby game for babies, and this is what happens. Yeah. Oh man! But I want to, before I delve more into Big Hero based on that. Quick thing with Monstropolis. I mean, yeah, it's cool that it takes place after the movie in this case, because they want, laughter for the energy weedings, Mega Man. Nothing too much to say. Randall's a bitch, and they send him back to hell again. Yeah. But then the Vanitas stuff, which is like probably one of the slightly more important, because Sora doesn't know about like etc. inside, and he's like, what the fuck? And then it's like, here's a super threatening thing. Sully just scares him, throws him in a door, throws the door through a door 20 times, and then saws it. I'm like, what? Can't he just teleport out of that? I was waiting for him to just teleport back and be like, nope, because that's Vanitas' line of the game. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Thanks, Haley Joel Osment, for that amazing. Better than too slow. I prefer nope because it's funnier. It's a funnier line reading. But that was that world. Done.
Yeah, like, I like the Vanitas stuff because it really, like, that actually was a good piece of exposition to remind the viewers that some people don't know certain things. Like we do.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, this whole Roxas thing, you're just like, all right, and the Ventus heart, and you're like, oh, I get it. And now Sora gets it. That's great. You want
Meanwhile,
shit like
Goofy's
that.
on edibles with his monster eyes. Oh my god.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, well. That was some good stuff, but I feel like the strongest world was the Big Hero 6 world to me. Like, it felt like this is what Sora visiting this world and being a part of this world feels like.
Quick thing with Pirates, it's basically just the movie, which, again, I didn't initially know until I went back and I'm like, oh, wait, okay.
Yeah.
But
it's just the movie.
It's just the movie. Yeah. Looks great.
And Crabjack. And Crabdrack. That's the only weird thing that's not part of the movie, but is now part of
you gotta find my
Kingdom Hearts lore.
It's like,
you gotta find my crabs.
Seriously, it's funny. I looked away to my computer for a second, looked back, and then he was crabs. I'm just like, why is he crabs? I don't think me not looking away would have changed it, but that's how that felt.
Yeah, no, it shocked me too. I was just like, crap, why? But regardless of that.
And how an organization member got owned by Jack's bad breath. Like, come on.
Yes.
This game is basically the organization getting lamed out. At least in the early half. It's just like, look how these labels went.
And that's the biggest sad part about the next part of the game after Big Hero 6 is I feel that there's all these really cool fights, but it turns out to be these weird 3-on-3 brawler type
There was no
things
time.
where
They had to shuffle it in.
Yeah, they just like crammed everyone into everything. Now they did a good job at like mixing the right parts of Xehanort of the 13 Darknesses with the people that represented the certain packs.
I didn't see it that way, but I want to do a pet peeve with Big Hero 6 for a second.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, Riku comes back, right? He has the Baymax heart. The control chip for Baymax.
Yeah, he's got the
Hero
from the original Baymax.
Is like, no, Baymax. And the whole time he's just like, no, not Baymax. And I'm just like, then what's that Baymax? What is your buddy He's right there. He is right there. And you're just, I'm guessing it was just the original code, his original heart, which I get.
Yes.
But in the moment, I was just like, then what does this Baymax mean to you? What the fuck? You are literally benching
the thing is,
Baymax.
Okay, no. The thing about this is if you've watched the movie, which you haven't seen the movie.
I love having to watch fucking movies.
Yeah, I know. But that's what the game is for, okay? It's to sell. Disney put themselves into this video game, not because they're like, man, we want to see a Japanese guy make a video game. Yeah, exactly. They're like, this is an ad. And they're like, all right, we'll make a game that's an ad. And Disney's like, thank you, making an ad. So it's not about Baymax. It's more along the lines of what Hero had put into the code. The original code was made specifically by his brother. And any alterations he made to it, he believed that it was his own. Right? So that Baymax, there's the true Baymax, which is the one that his brother made. And he sort of uses it as a conduit for his love for his brother.
Okay.
That he's never disconnected from his brother because he has that original Baymax. But
the movie,
obviously,
the game fails to really address this. So I'm just like, but he's right there. He's right there. So the whole time I was just like complaining, and it just like, oh, well, I guess we're gonna have to say goodbye to old Baymax. Just kidding. Here's 2. Happy ever after. I'm just like, fuck this. And
they both hug him. Then he gets double
super
hugged.
Warm.
The double hug is very
super
important.
Warm. Administer the first aid spray that no Resident Evil characters outside of our heroes would ever accept.
Yeah. Sorry, Chief Irons. You're bad at your face, Scar.
Sorry, Birkin. We're not gonna fix your ribcage with a first aid spray. But that's the Disney Worlds. Yeah. Now the game
that's
happens.
The Disney Worlds. Now now Kingdom Hearts starts. So from there, Sora just says, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna go into the darkness.
And he's like, alright. Because also, there's 2 moments in the game where you play as Riku, which is kind of cool.
Yes.
I prefer the second one because, honestly, I like his second Keyblade better. Because it looks more like a sword. But it's actually kind of based off a different type of key. And I'm like, yeah, it looks like something you could put in the Beast Morpher, I guess.
It's a car. He
has
a
modern car key.
He has a modern car key. We can say it out loud. I think it's cool.
He could rev it, but then I'd be like, I wish I was playing Devil May Cry.
Yeah, now it's like, because that's the thing, is you see Riku, and he reminds me of Devil May Cry. Like, this is the path that Dante took with all these Disney characters.
Riku style switches and goes trickster.
Yeah, because apparently the canon is all fucked up right now. So that's, regardless of, we're not going to talk about DMC. You get me talking for hours.
I'd be excited, but here comes Jesus Sora after Riku says the word Sora, just happens to be around the time Sora opens the door on Destiny Islands. It's like, alright, you goobers, stay here. And then he just comes from the sky, lands next to him with a fucking slow-mo hero shot of the water splashing in Unreal Engine 4, and then they do their Dream Drop distance finisher.
Yep.
It's like, I clapped. I didn't clap, but I remember that. Yeah.
It's like super cool. And then it's just like, all right, go tend to Mickey. I'll take care of Aqua.
I think it would have
like,
been, I'm glad they at least had the double finisher. It would have been worse if it was only Sora. I mean, it ends up being only Sora against Aqua, but...
Which I felt like, I think Riku should have been the one, because Riku is the person that pulls people out of darkness, because he's
just kidding, there. Sora does it.
I know, yeah, just kidding, sorry, Jesus comes down and does it. You know, and I don't like that, because I'm like, this fight, when they actually made me fight her, and she was, like, really crazy, and I thought that was the first fight that I was like, this is what I want in my Kingdom Hearts. Why am I not getting more fights like this?
You're talking Sora versus Aqua,
and spectacular. Right? Yeah, Sora versus Aqua, and even that Riku part too, the one that happens before, where she doesn't really fight Riku, but there's all those like extra
it was basically
that
the Demon Tower again.
Yeah, and I love that.
I did
section,
not feel the same way.
I really like the Aqua and Sora
I did not
fight.
feel the same way.
I really like that.
I'll give you one reason why I didn't feel the same way. And it all comes down to this. I did this in 0.2. The way Aqua fought, I'm just like, this is exactly like the fight in 0.2. Demon Tower, almost every Demon Tower thing is similar to 0.2, even kind of like the later one. Like, you know, right after the fucking 1 million troops section. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that kind of dampened it for me personally, because I'm just like, the fight in general is cool, but I did it in another game. Nothing new was really added.
Okay. See, I haven't played 0.2.
So that is your frame of reference. But since I did play 0.2,
I think I should let you know that that's where I am. That is very important, because like I see that and I'm like, this is actually a lot more fun than the first time you come across that stupid fucking tornado.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like that conclusion, I just felt that I was super cool with Sora coming down and helping Riku, but I wanted to play as Riku defeating Aqua.
It would have been cool if it was a 2v1, you know, like Xemnas. But I mean, I guess that's the multiple fights happen later, but it's impossible to
the multiple fights sort of
to notice
overdoing
actually. But yeah.
But like, and that was when I was like, all right, now there's like everybody's around, and like I'm like, all right, the game is starting, because like it's got everybody, and all the people that I thought were the seven lights were fucking the seven lights.
I think
they were not.
Like, I was a little too like funny. I'm just like, I'll joke around and say Donald and Goofy are two of them, but I knew Kairi, Axel Lee, so that's two. Sora, Riku, Mickey, and then I guess I didn't know if Aqua or whatever were going to be saved in time.
Yeah, Aqua and Ventus.
Yeah, so I guess I subbed Aqua and Ventus for Donald and Goofy.
I guess that's where we're supposed to go next with the story. They do sit around and they talk, and then they obviously talk about Aqua's like, we need to go get Ventus.
We gotta get Ven.
He's in Castle
I'm
Oblivion.
acting. I mean,
yeah, I gotta get Ven.
I re-listened to
she tried so hard this time.
I re-listened to Birth by Sleep cutscenes as Aqua, and I'm like, this is the worst it's ever been. Like, holy shit. Like, what is this direction? Okay, you think Claire's bad SCR? That emoting. Okay, alright, here's Aqua.
Yeah. But see, that's what I love Aqua as a character. She's sometimes, you gotta get past her, the way she emotes.
Whether it's like she has motivations and goals, but my god, Plank from Ed and Eddie is better at emoting.
Or just awkward. She's awkward. It's not even planky, it's like awkward.
It's stilted. It is stilted, and it's just like, look, I don't know the voice actress's name. I'm pretty sure you could do better than this. Yeah,
but anyway, we save Ven.
I think that was cool,
she turns
though.
Castle Oblivion back into the original castle from Birth by Sleep.
What a fucking dumb thing. I'm just like, oh, wow. I don't remember.
Goes, and then she wakes up, and then, boom, good old Vanitas shows up. Because, obviously, and at this point, you're still, like, Sora's still here, but you get to transition, and you get to play as Aqua for that.
And it's like, hey, that's cool.
Segment.
And then...
Which I'm like, that's that, because Vanitas is not Sora's enemy. It's actually their enemy. It's Ventus's and Aqua's enemy, and I like the fact that they got to fight him.
It's like, hey, that was a cool moment.
And then, guess what? The game says, nope, sorry, Sora's still Jesus. He's got to go kill all those people again. But regardless.
Well, yeah.
Yes, no, I mean, they're fighting with you, but they, with the exception of one person, which was when Roxas came out, he just finished it for me. I didn't have to do anything.
But no, like, with the Vanitas fight, I mean, aside from, like, I was like, I don't remember this rock music from Birth by Sleep. I was like, oh, this is a cool fight. Nope, sorry, because that kept happening. But I don't think it was Sora. It's just like, well, technically it could be him. Because, oh man, even though you win as Aqua still kind of loses. Which,
she does, I know.
Is probably one of the biggest complaints with this game in a general sense. We'll get to that. But, like, just how, like, okay, Sora manages to somehow, with the hearts, I guess, wake Vanitas up. And then Ventus. Oh my god, these names are terrible. These names are so
Vanitas.
bad. They're so bad. Why do you do this?
Ventus.
Yes, Ventus. Ventus comes in,
Ventus
breaks the fucking shield like Shockmaster, but does it more gracefully than Shockmaster. Saves the day. Is like, oh wait, woke up. It's like, alright, I'm out of here. And then, then the seven hearts gather. Alright, go to the keyboard graveyard.
Yeah, it's just...
That's how I generalize plots. I like saying things wrong on purpose. I love keyboards.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack from all this bullcrap. But, yeah, so he saves her. Vanitas, he runs away because I don't know why, actually. He just says...
He literally just goes,
nope. There's two of them.
Just reuse that line.
He's just like, nope. Whatever. And then we go back, and then we get everybody together, and then we find out that everybody's the seven lights, and plus Donald
You're
Goofy.
Just there to help.
Oh yeah, we're just here to help. And then I'm like, I like that from them, and I think that's why I like them, is it's just like, it's not like Donald actually wants to be one of the seven lights. He's just like, no, I'm just gonna help. If it's for my king and for Sora, I'll do it. I'll be mad about it, but I'm not gonna be mad that I'm not chosen. You know, like that's what I like about the two of them, is that they didn't have to be light. They were just there to help. They hardly help at all anyway, if you really think about it, like on a gameplay standpoint. They're just sort of like moral support that sometimes are like, you press triangle with them.
Yeah, I guess.
Like that's the feeling, and the game sort of gives that off with it.
Then, so everyone goes to the Keyblade Graveyard. There's the million troop fight. I think everyone just goes on ahead, and it's like, all right, you three handle this. It's just like,
yeah, everybody leaves.
And then, yeah, it's another spectacle moment trying to recapture 2, which looks better because it's a better engine, more powerful hardware, and you get a train this time. And they just go flying too, so that's also kind of funny how they're just kind of blowing up. And then after that,
like the amount of light and darkness.
And then I think the best moment of the game happens next. Everyone fucking dies. The game should have just ended right there.
I wish it did. I wish it was. It was,
and then it just
like
reboots and says Kingdom Hearts 3.2. If you're like, no,
yeah, 3.1, or something like that. But that's the thing, is like, imagine if they had done that. If they just like pulled the rug out of under it and they just said the prophecy was the prophecy, guys, that he would fall into darkness.
Lowest reviewed game of the year.
Yeah, exactly. That ending, that would even be worse than like a Mass Effect 3 disaster.
I would have been like, I am so happy, guys. I would have been beaming. I'm just like everyone's gonna be so upset. Oh man.
Yeah, the irony of it is the best part of it. But then Sora, at his lowest of darkness, he goes so deep into the darkness.
He just goes to the Beyond Two Souls world.
And then he just awakens the power of waking, which I guess means that he can time travel now, because that's what I really gathered from that.
I guess? I don't know.
Because he time travels backwards to the time, so he's able to intercept Terranort.
Terranort. No, well, he doesn't No, he does not intercept. He does not.
Oh no!
Yeah, but right. before
the other
Lingering Will does, but still before that, there's just the whole segment where you're just like in the ethereal plane.
Oh right,
and you're like rebuilding yourself. There's actually 2 missable cutscenes. I don't know if you caught them.
I had the one where I talked to Naminé.
I had that. There was one other. Which I believe was I don't remember the character name. It probably had something to do with.
There was that little like bear
no, it is not.
That,
it had nothing to do with
liked.
Kari. That is mandatory.
Okay,
I forget the name, but it's Kari's voice actress. So I'm just like, it's Kari from Digimon. But no, there was one other, and I think it was a character probably from the mobile game or something. I mean, I didn't fucking know. I'm just like, I don't know who this is.
I didn't get that, because I got a Naminé.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is missable. And I didn't know that. I was worried it might be. I'm just like, wait, I should check every star before I grab everything. And I did. A lot of it was text, but 2 were cutscenes. But anyways, you build yourself, and it's just like, all right, and then you go into,
which is probably one of the coolest areas in this entire game.
Beautiful,
by the way,
because it's fucking nothing.
Visually, it's beautiful.
But
I like the mechanics of it. I think it's a unique concept, but I wish that it was more of a, like, it wasn't just a collectathon. It's like, collect your swords. I think
that was funny,
win.
Especially because a lot of them were just like, happy dancing swords, like, collect them. And just like, oh my god.
This is the inside of Sora's head, guys. This is what we're rebuilding, is this motherfucker.
Yeah, go fast. Sonic, yeah. That's him.
Yeah.
Big shoes, not a big enough head. And then after that, you're pretty much diving into worlds, getting this Grim Reaper shit.
Yeah, that was probably the worst part of the game for me. Yeah, I hate that fucking Grim Reaper thing.
Believe it, it got worse the more you went.
And not only do you have to fight him once, you have to fight him
7
times. And it's not like, oh, everyone's a different way of fighting. Nope. It's just a shitty map with a shitty boss over and over and over
I liked
again.
the idea, but the problem is like, I wouldn't have minded the Grim Reaper if it weren't for the fact that, hey, I want a combo. Nope. He's just gonna teleport into 20 different ones, sometimes less or more, and you can get hit during that because you're in the middle of a combo. So, and he just moves away constantly. And I don't remember if magic was really effective against him. And it was actually one of the rare times I got a status ailment, like the Thundercloud. I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm like, oh, good thing I have the weird status potion equipped, because I almost rarely saw that. I saw stun. I never saw sneezing. That's a thing. I never saw sneezing.
Sneezing is a thing?
Apparently. I've never seen it, but I saw it in my playthrough. I've never seen it, but I saw it in gameplay. Stun is super common. And then Thunder just happened to be late game. Or like Stormcloud, where it's like, it'll have Thunder on the command thing, so you can't hit it, or the Thunder will strike you, which is kind of like something Kingdom Hearts 2 would have done as like a boss thing, you know? But it's whatever.
Yeah, like a gimmick or something.
Oh,
Wouldn't
there was
it be
also
great if that Grim Reaper had a goddamn gimmick that wasn't just, I'm going to teleport halfway across the map. All right. Big Hero 6 Grim Reaper can suck a dick. Like, just
I think that was the last one I had.
In that world.
I think it was either that or the Tangled one, because it was in the swamp. Where it's just like...
Oh yeah, the swamp was really bad.
Monsters, Inc. was just in a confined space, but still, you would just move around a lot.
Yeah, but it was a big giant circle space.
I think that was the only part.
It's just awful. It's just an awful
I think
experience.
that was the only part where, with Monsters, Inc., where the Grim Reaper disappeared and I had to kill ads. Every other time, that didn't happen. I don't know if it was specific to that, or I just happened to be slow there because the Grim Reaper is a big fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, and this is where I discovered that Arrow was a wonderful, wonderful
I only
spell.
discovered Arrow when I was grinding for gems. And I'm like, oh, it just kills these enemies I'm grinding better. Okay, that was the only time I used it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is it would halt them in place or bring them towards you, depending upon the circumstances. So you could actually stop that motherfucker from teleporting for a little bit so you could attack him. And that's when I started really delving into magic, saying, all right, because at the beginning of the game, they do make you choose. This is one thing that we forgot to talk about. They did make us choose like certain where you would get your stats. So if you like more magic based combat, you could pick all the magic sort of categories like mind and spirit and mystic or whatever.
Yeah, and it's all selection based, no dropping anything this time.
Yeah, so I selected a sort of like mixture of a fighter and magic, so I got a lot of like things like mid-game rather than very early on either or. So I didn't really discover magic until that Grim Reaper fight, because I was like, I don't want to fucking do this anymore. How long is this going to take? I need to find some way of stopping him. So I went through my magic list and actually played with it, and realized that I can stun lock him, I can do other things that make it so much easier on my last 3.
I forget the exact options I picked at the start of the game, but like I remember it was mostly like a balance thing, and it was less me discovering magic as in like me using more than just fire, and eventually Thunder. Thunder became the fucking crowd killer. I'm just like, Thunder, yep.
Yeah, Thunder took over. Thunder took over relatively quickly as the best spell.
So then Sora recovers, goes back in time. The same events happen up until Lingering Will came out of nowhere, which apparently, I don't know if the Naminé cutscene mentioned, hey, there's a soul here, I'll try and send him down, or something.
She hinted that there are other people around here that may seem familiar to you of Souls Lost, but she never mentions that he would come down and rescue you.
Imagine it's like mysterious figure shows up like, wait, that's a bad guy. I'm like, oh, now it's just killing himself. But no.
And you're just like, here, look, we explained the Lingering Will. He's the Keyblade god.
And he's got his moves. Well, some of the moves.
Yeah.
Like his Belmont whip. his cannon.
So Terra Nort is like, oh fuck, and he gets completely occupied by this guy, while everybody just continues. They just continue into the labyrinth.
No, they
at this
don't.
point, right? What happened? No. Do we retreat? I can't remember if we retreat.
They just end up fighting Demon Tower again, or like they fight separately. Sora's got Demon Tower bigger health, which eventually turns into Giant Demon Ball, and then Keyblades happen.
This is darkness, okay? We're talking about darkness, not demons.
Well, it's
darkness.
called the Demon Tower.
I know, but it's darkness. It's just dark. It's just a pile of hardness.
Whatever. Fucking whatchamacallit from Castlevania, Legion.
Yeah, Legion, I am one.
But like then Keyblades happen. I forget the exact order, but it was just like something leading up to it. And then you see mobile game dude say need some help, and then a billion Keyblades from the graveyard come out in the top 10 near automatas in decades happen.
Yeah, where anybody that played the mobile game and got high scores and everything like that became names that you would throw the Keyblades
top 500
at the darkness. There's the top 500.
Yeah, it turned out to be like if you hit top 500 in something, whoever played there. Because I went to the comment section, there's some people who's like, by the way, that's my name. And I'm just like, wow. I honestly thought this was really cool. I didn't really care about the mobile game because at the time I didn't really have a smartphone, and when I did, it was just to get a Keyblade early with its stupid fucking install thing. But anyways, I think that was one of the cooler moments, even though partially through I'm like, it's like, I know those are real names. I'm like, they probably looked at Nier for inspiration. They were probably going to use the names for something, but probably weren't sure yet. Can I just say the music accompanying that moment? Oh, it's
so good.
I'm just like, this, you want good goosebumps? I'm just like, that's good goosebumps. I'm just like, I wish the game kind of ended here. That's something that would be saved for like the big end, and the game goes on for like 10 other hours.
See that? It can. Well, see, the problem with that is it would fall under that crux that I'd be like, oh my god, they just made it pure fucking darkness, right? Like, if it was placed at the end, like you suggest,
no, like do this moment
like
against
that Deus Ex Machina background, where the only reason why Xehanort is doing all this is because he's controlled by pure
No, it would have been funny if,
which is Kingdom Hearts.
No, if Xehanort
or whatever
was the one you did it to, and he wasn't being controlled, but he controlled it, and it's just like, that's the big final attack. But
yeah,
although we'll get to Xehanort because I still have things to say.
Yeah, because we're getting close to that.
So suddenly, after all that really kind of incredible moment, even though I had like no attachment, I'm just like, this is a highlight. I think right after that, fucking, oh no, it was either after or before, but Donald's super fucking attack that almost kills him.
Okay. No, that happened before everyone started dying.
Oh, really?
Right? He sacrificed himself to save everybody, and then everyone died after that.
I don't know if that was the order.
So when Sora reversed time, Donald hadn't sacrificed himself first. Because he had sacrificed himself first to like supposedly take it out, and then everybody's like, oh no, Donald, and they're all crying, and then they turn around, and then all destruction, everybody gets deleted and murdered.
The funniest
That's what
part
happens.
Outside of the game is like, they
did it to Goofy,
no, I know,
right?
but just like,
so they had to do it to Donald.
There was some
too.
joke way back where it's like, I don't know if it was a magazine thing or something, but just like some guy claimed he was from the future and played Kingdom Hearts 3 and said Donald died. And it's just like, you go now, it's just like, yeah, that's not.
I mean, technically, yes.
You're kind of right. Yes. You didn't say permanent, but we'll believe you. Oh my god. But no, okay. I just wanted to bring that moment out because I'm just like, they killed Donald. Yeah. Eat your ingredients, motherfucker. And then after after Union Cross happened.
What they're getting at here is, I think instead of it being time travel, it's that Sora himself is able to hop between himself.
What?
Like Xehanort. Like, because Xehanort's able to hop between dimensions and grab himself, right? From those dimensions. So Sora has unlocked the power of waking, where he's able to know all of the existences of him in all of reality. That's why he has to piece himself with so many other Soras. He's rebuilding himself to be connected to all the other Soras.
He's got to fill in his ink bucket of a body.
So the idea is that, and this also links to the end of the game, is that he is hopping dimensions, finding the outcome where everyone survives. That's why Saix is alive at the end of the whole thing, because he dies in the game.
And then he has a terrible looking jacket reality, at the end.
Now he's got this. He's trying way too hard, Mom, to not be edgy. God. But he's in that reality because Sora's hopping realities and trying to find the ones where he and everyone else exist. But that one that we saw at the very end was him going there, but realizing that everyone was alive, but he wasn't.
Ugh.
Right? So this is the thing, is he's hopping realities trying to find the perfect ending.
Oh, man.
Because he's that fucking pure. He's like, if I can find it, then I can bring it to everyone. And this is the thing about Sora. Which brings it all together. And this is what I was like, this is what the power of waking is. Like, that's what I define it as anyway.
No, the power of waking is me getting out of bed, realizing Donald's fucking dead.
Yeah, that Donald is actually dead in one of those timelines.
Can we just go
He's
back
actually
to
dead. So that guy is right. That guy is right. In that timeline, Donald is dead, and everyone else apparently.
All right, I want to speed things along. I'm not a host, obviously, but
yeah,
do I count this as me winning a bet? Because I forgot about this. Well, I didn't forget, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to count it. How Yen Sid just shows up and makes Moses.
Yes.
I was predicting Yen Sid would show up and be the villain, so I was only half right, so I don't know if you'd give me that bet.
Okay, because I said, like, we were both agreeing that he's probably going to show up at some point, and I said he was going to be, like, that he was going to do something to help the heroes. Like, I wasn't very specific about it. I was just like, he'll just show up and then they can move forward. And your one was he's going to show up. I went for the stupidest ones possible
because that's how much I care.
But you were like, but then we find out that he's actually Xehanort or something this entire
Why else
time.
would he mutter under his breath, may your heart be your guiding key, which is something our later villain says? No, Jens, okay, no. So, I guess you won't give it to me because...
I mean, at least we know that he can sit up, that he is able to stand. I was very concerned that maybe they just rolled Grandpa behind the desk there, just sort of left him there, and called him Grandpa Wizard, and...
Donald and Goofy stay behind.
Got forgotten.
They just stay behind for the next section. The Labyrinth, my first game over because of bad game design.
The getting to the...
Guess what? If that door closes on you, game over.
Thingies? I'm sorry. I lost against fucking Xemnas. That's where I got one of my game overs. I didn't die to any
boss. The only boss I quote-unquote died to was the super boss, but I had the Kupo coin. And I also died... I forget where else I died at. Fuck, but seriously, that one was, like, the most fake it's ever been. I'm just like... Nope, does not count, because they don't give you too much time, which means you can barely make mistakes, because like you're going in, you can't really prepare. Also, I was one footstep away from hitting the trigger, I found out, and then the door slammed shut. It's like getting Gandalfed super hard. It's like, door, look, go to that door. No. Yeah. I was upset for the rest of the playthrough. Not really, but I'm just like, I wagged my finger. I just said, that's not a death. That is fake. I won't allow it. But
yeah, so what you're saying is that you hopped to a different
no,
Sora
I just
dimension
loaded my
where he
save
didn't
instead
die
of using
there.
a continue. I was that bitter. I'm just like, I'm just loading my save. You're not getting this notch. Nuh-uh. Hard load, which again, the save was like right there. So
Right there, yeah.
although I had to redo the battle gate.
I really enjoyed the labyrinth though. I wish like there's one thing I wish out of the entire
I wish there wasn't stupid
is
walls
the fact
blocking you on the way to a door.
Yeah, that one I'm fine with. It's more along the lines as I like the 3-on-3 idea, but I really wish that I could have fought some of them individually because some of them, like Marluxia, for example, like they completely neutered him. So he doesn't really have very many of his cool things. The only thing that's sort of left over is his heart counter that he puts on you. Right? That if you get hit too many times, then it does like a big attack, but it doesn't kill you anymore.
I never got hit by that. I never saw the counter. Guess what?
Oh,
because
wow.
you could just glide above the fucking arena and dodge half the shit. So by that point, you're just like, okay, I can just go up here. By the way, this is kind of cool. I mean, they obviously like had rival versus rival, but I noticed it was sectioned into the installments of the game. Like, you got Kingdom Hearts 1 on the left and Kingdom Hearts 2 on the right. And then you go later and you got Birth by Sleep on the left, 358 to the right. Recoded on Suicide Watch. And mobile game.
But yeah, no, like, it's so well put together. Like, I felt engaged. I felt like we were concluding some of the stories as well. Like, some of them were bullshit. Yeah. And, like, Zigbar's was like, oh my god, nail in the fucking coffin, guys. Come
I think the moment where I'm just like, CJ was right, was the moment when he mentioned the word getting his own Keyblade. I'm like, oh no. I'm just like, oh no. And then he just kind of jumps off a cliff and fakes it. I will say though,
well, like, that's the thing, is, like, he gets defeated by Sora, and he realizes that he, who is the quote-unquote second in line for Xehanort's Keyblade, is now his by default, because now Xehanort is dead. So he gets the key. So he realizes that Sora has the ability to give him the key that he wants.
Okay.
Like, there's weird, deep shit going on here, and I was quite surprised with how weirdly layered this ogre onion is.
And like, what's funny is, like, in some of the battles, like, there is, like, Xemnas and, like, Ansem, and, like, they just kind of fuck off. Like, it's like a cutscene, it's like, Ansem's just like, why? And then it just goes back to the fight, which is weird, depending on the order you defeat them in, because a cutscene will trigger depending on who you beat.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest with Birth by Sleep, because I think I did Terra first, because I hate him. But it turns out they go back to him at the end. But, so, was this where so with Kingdom Hearts 1, was this where Riku's, like, replica self left his body and went to attack the evil one and, like, suicide or something? Okay.
Yeah, so what happened is Xehanort had gone to a different dimension.
No, I'm not worried about the dimensions. I'm just like...
a time. I know, but he went to a different time, which is another dimension, is going to a different time in life where he embodied like Xehanort himself embodied Riku. Because after Riku and Maleficent have a little talk, Riku turns around and he's like, man, Mom, stop telling me off for being too dark. He turns around and then actually Xehanort, which apparently is that cloaked, hooded guy, he talks and then embodies Riku's darkness.
Yeah, that was in the first game.
During that time.
I was just mainly asking, like, how...
He went back and got that Riku while he was possessing him and brought him here. But then the copy Riku, which his heart resides within Riku's, which is why he sees him throughout the entire game, is like, I sympathize with that Riku. Because I was like that. I was in that sort of angry, defiling state. So he leaves Riku's heart and then goes and attaches himself to that Riku clone, showing him his humanity and everything, and then they both die.
And the replica body's just left there.
And then the replica body's left for Naminé to take.
Wait, was that Naminé's? Then,
yes, Naminé is the body they use. That body they use it to bring back Naminé.
Then what about Roxas's body? Where the fuck did that come from? He just comes straight out of Sora's heart. No body, just
no. They had a replica body over in I call him Zexion, but they don't call him that in this game. The guy with the gray hair
I
with
thought
the
that was
eyeball.
Naminé's body.
No. They actually sent they sent that body. They built it for Roxas to be in it, and then they sent it at that time with Sora calling out. And then they both combined at the same time. That's why there's an explosion. Because for some fucking reason, they airdrop this replica body for Roxas.
It's not a replica body, it's just Mr. X. You airdrop him
X gonna fucking give it to you. You just fucking airdrop him. That was the only time. Maybe they teleported it in.
I didn't get that idea, because I'm like, I don't think they ever showed him sending that body. So I originally thought the body that was left behind
they worked on the body and said that they were making it for Roxas, and that was the last time that we
never see him send
listened
it
into what they were doing. We just never saw them send it,
because I'm like, what the fuck?
It gets sent in that moment in the cutscene.
Bullshit, absolute bullshit.
That is
where
it comes
bullshit.
From. It's not a cutscene that's out of order. It's that one, because then they use the Riku one to bring back Naminé, because apparently Riku and Naminé are a thing.
That's fine.
I don't know why did that happen.
Why didn't you fucking show him sending it?
Yeah,
because you got me confused.
Just had them being like, you
made me think the wrong
and then you see him hit
taken.
the button, and then
you idiots.
Oh. Yeah, so they will Roxas into the existence, and like I said, once Roxas was summoned, he just took care of everybody else.
I'm Jesse McCartney, I didn't have to worry about the other kid.
Oh gosh, man! Ever since we looked up what he looked like,
no, that was David Gallagher. David Gallagher was the one where it was like, oh god.
Oh gosh, it's that 90s kid. But yeah,
and then I guess Shion came from another time dimension, which is why she was already there. And then, friendship. Remember our buddies where we ate sea salt ice cream 5 billion times a day?
Yeah, see, this is the thing: is she is from another time dimension, and she's brought here, but she retains all of her memories. And of course,
Kyrie's in this fight too.
Yeah, for fucking 5 seconds.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
It gets worse, DJ. You know it gets worse.
I know it gets worse, and I'm so pissed off about it.
No one is happy.
I'm glad no one's happy, because it just feels and reeks of bullshit. But so she gets captured.
No, wait, Kyrie Kyrie doesn't get captured there? She does.
Yeah, she does. In the fight in the labyrinth, she gets captured by Xehanort. Not Xehanort, Xemnas.
I thought it was a different
Xemnas comes out and captures her.
Because I knew it happened, I just don't remember where. Yeah, I know it was somewhere in the end of the fucking game. And then, alright, fast forward to the Birth by Sleep fight, where I beeline for Terra. I'm just like, kill him! I don't want him! This is where you win your next bet.
I know, I won this one. I was like, I couldn't believe you thought he was gonna...
Wait, what did I think what was gonna be?
Because you thought he was just gonna be dead.
Well, that's just me wanting something that me and Clems would agree on, probably. But, you were right, and believe it or not, back when I booted up Birth by Sleep on the PSP, like I mentioned way earlier, I actually did the final fight for the final episode, and when I played through it, I'm just like, after getting to Kingdom Hearts 3 and it just the reveal where Terra's actually the stand, and when I did that final episode, I'm just like, no way, that makes sense. I get it. And I'm just like, I don't know why I thought about that.
He is Darkseid.
Is he called Darkseid though? Darkseid's...
He's called Darkseid. He's called Darkseid.
Okay.
The thing, he is the antagonist boss that is actually pushing Sora to be stronger throughout the entire series.
Because, yeah, like,
That's
I know
why
that dark side, but when I saw that...
measuring Sora's worth, he's measuring Sora's worth when Ansem. So he helps Ansem and says, well, I'll do these things, but he's not actually a part of Ansem. He's actually fucking Terra.
It's funny that he just rips his fucking, like, bandage mouth off, and I was just like, ooh, this is not a T-rated game, and that was a little blood, but... But no, like, I only wanted it not to be true just because I wanted Terra to stay dead. But I'm just like, nah, that does make sense, especially like, again, at the time I didn't really think too hard on it. But I'm like, oh, I guess. Then
and they've hinted at it for a while. Like, obviously, some of the extra stuff with the final mix of Birth by Sleep does sort of put it into a much better perspective, and not everybody saw it that way. But I felt it was very well executed, just for the thought that I see where they're going with this. I don't know if it was originally intended this way, but it fits into enough places that I'm willing to be like, yeah, that makes complete sense. Now, it's perfect. The way it is.
Did Vanitas die? I know Sora saw what he looked like, which was basically a mirror image, because, you know, how they're connected. I don't remember if Vanitas died.
He does. He does die. But it's more along the lines of he's because Sora sees him. Sora sees the darkness that is like the pure darkness that's in his heart. And the idea is like maybe that Sora sort of absorbed him in a strange way. That's why he kind of like fizzles out rather than like the complete, like when a Heartless usually dies, they like
and the heart just flows up like
into like this. Yeah, and the heart flies up where he just sort of fades as if he's like, he becomes a mist or something like that. So I would say that most likely he either just died straight up or that he is also now just a part of Sora.
Yeah, I guess. So yeah.
Because that's what he is. He's like, when the Ventus's heart was mixed in with him and they did this, the way to save Ventus from dying, from unlocking the Keyblade, not a Keyblade, the Keyblade.
The symbol's an X.
Yeah, but it was a fake because it was there wasn't a proper union of light and dark. It was too much light versus the dark being presented. So he's like, we'll extract darkness completely to equalize it, and it made sort of a fake Keyblade. So he's really just a failed experiment that is a part of Sora because of his intertwined soul with Roxas. Or not Roxas, Ventus.
So yeah, Terra comes back, much to everyone's dismay. No one's happy about it, except for the three stupid buddies known as Aqua, Ventus, and Terra. Yes, he's happy with himself again. But I'll be honest, by this part, I was just like going,
smile
boo!
At least once.
Like, I was actually booing. That's how much I don't like Terra. I'm just like, boo. Boo.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those cherry things on top.
Boo.
And it plays into the theme later on that, you know, this one seems like the one. Sora has found the one timeline where everyone survives. And then then something happens. And I get it, Nomura. I know where you're going with this. But it's really annoying because that's what you made this character into. And it, no growth. So, yeah, after all that, we do fight with Riku and Mickey at the top with the big three.
Well,
Ansem,
Kairi dies.
Xemnas,
I know that's
and... Oh, yeah, she dies first, right? Does she die? I thought she died after that.
No, I think it was she dies, he gets mad, time stop happens. Yeah, time just freezes. Stuff happens.
Oh, no, Mickey freezes time. Mickey freezes time there.
But then Xehanort also stopped. So Mickey froze, but Xehanort got unaffected. And then some bullshit. But man, you know what would have been cool? To play as Kairi just for a bit. Nope.
Nope.
Just immediately
She is
killed.
The most important. She is actually one of the most important people in the trio of three.
Sora get.
She is the link between everything.
She helped Sora get out of the Grim Reaper hell that CJ had to endure. That was an important shot.
God.
And guess what? Dead.
Yes, she was the light in his darkness.
Fill the dark
and all the
soul
darkness
with
as he kept diving down. You gotta fill the dark soul with light! Right? And that's what she did. She went into his soul and freed him. Nope, she's dead.
And
Fuck
you know what's
off.
funny? Like, shortly after, Shion's like, don't worry, I feel her heart. And he's like, okay. Oh.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, okay, that means I can rescue her. That means he's gonna start hopping fucking bodies again, trying to find the perfect outcome.
The Kingdom Hearts related characters, if you're female, you're useless. Like, Aqua got a fight, and she got knocked around, got Norded. Great.
Well, she Norded herself.
Because she attacked and got drowned. And then, guess what? She fights Vanitas, quote-unquote wins, but then loses, and then Ventus comes in to stop. So...
saves the day,
Kairi,
saves the girl.
Yeah.
And then just all the shit that happens to Kairi.
Doesn't do much, gets bodied, dies.
I really liked her talk with Lee, though. I thought that was such a very well put together scene. I'm like, oh, this fleshes out her a little bit. Like, I understand where she's coming from now and why her optimism and her kindness just sort of like outshines
and she
anything.
Has a Keyblade because she touched Aqua's when she was a kid, but doesn't remember outside of the pendant because she's like, oh, I was too young for that. I'm a Keyblade master because I touched Aqua's Keyblade. That's not innuendo, I promise.
And then some people would argue saying, well, that's why she's doomed as a character because Aqua is a terrible Keyblade master. You know, like...
No, Terra is a worse Keyblade master. So I'm just you're not Terra. You could have worse fates than death. You could be Terra. That's worse than living and dying.
Yeah, well, he's alive in this timeline. But yeah, so you fight the three. I died because of fucking laser beam bullshit from Xemnas all the time. He reminded me of his beta form in Kingdom Hearts 1.
Yeah, secret boss, I guess.
The secret boss, Xemnas.
Yeah. Young Xehanort
which I haven't
is
beaten
still
on
annoying.
my PS4 yet.
The young Xehanort was still the most annoying one, moveset wise.
But
of course, it would always be segmented off with Rutger Hauer's 2 repeating lines when he's just throwing Keyblades everywhere, where it's all dusted and stuff.
Yeah, like, this is the one thing about Xemnas, like, that his death was super weird.
I don't remember it.
It's the one where, like, he's like, oh, I'm gonna die alone and everything. You used everyone. And you're like, don't worry, Xemnas, we'll still remember you. You know, like, and they had this whole, like, weird shit as he, like, disappeared.
Like,
he's like, you had feelings. Don't worry. Your feelings are just. We understand. We had those feelings, too. And he just whisks away.
Like,
and you're like, what the shit?
Like, okay, what?
Yeah, and he's smiling at the end. I'm like, what the fuck did you just do to this man? They Disney'd him. They straight up Disney'd him.
I forget. Does Ansem say submit still? Okay, it's still not Billy Zane submit. Max value.
It's
submit,
not, though. It's not.
No, that was Chain of Memories where I had to hear that 500 times. But whatever.
Oh, man. And then young Xehanort was kind of annoying.
Yeah, because Mysterious Figures, a bad boss fight, and he was also kind of annoying in Dream Drop because it's the same guy.
Yeah, and he just goes out because he's just too young. He's like, fuck it, I'm going back to my time,
he's just
whatever.
Like, fuck this, I'm going anime, and then he does.
Yeah.
So young, well, of course young Xehanort doesn't die, or else Xehanort would die.
Yeah, that's what he just like. He goes back to his realm because he's like, fuck this.
I'm just gonna go
anymore.
Play chess.
Yeah,
and then Xehanort stuff happens, which eventually leads to, well, he activates the Keyblade, and then
the real Keyblade, not the fake one,
Heart Moon, which
Keyblade.
I guess is Kingdom Hearts and not the fucking door, goes black.
That's a red card. They red card that really hard,
and then it eventually some shit happens. I guess it's like, oh, I guess that was the moment where it's like, okay, Kairi's still alive. Don't worry about that. Thanks, Xion. All right, where do we go? All right, aim the Keyblade at thing, I guess, and now they're in the final area of the game, I think.
Yeah, this is, and then we get to partake in the longest
final
ever.
boss.
Oh
I like the
God.
look of the place, but there isn't a lot to it.
And that's the thing.
It's just like, this looks like a town I could explore. But then you walk left, and it's like, here's all 13 guys. Like, excuse me? It just immediately goes.
Yeah, you're just like, here it is. And then you find this is why Arrow became my best friend, because it would clump those guys together. And like, I could
the thing is, I thought because they were bosses, I didn't think something like Arrow would work. So I just relied on my guard encounters in this situation.
Oh man. But yeah, that happens. And then you fight Xehanort proper.
Yeah, starts with he's got like a horse armor, which costs $4.99. Thanks, Bethesda.
Yeah, exactly. You're up there in the clouds somewhere, Bethesda. You better make a good game.
There's just like a lot of this is primarily air-based, and then there's the section where you're like underwater. There's some attacks I couldn't really comprehend how to dodge. A lot of them I could block, but there's somewhere I'm just like, I don't know. And I think a lot of that was because underwater.
Well, that's the thing. It became like such a fatigue. I guess that was sort of like the purpose of it, was to make you fight like similar but different encounters, but to do them in long, sort of more drawn out fights. So you felt as if, like, oh my God, this is never ending. So I couldn't really keep up with all the form changes all the time, or like really get the basics of combat. Like Down in the Water felt really weird.
Yeah, and then I keep forgetting like if you have more range underwater, because the water projectiles shoot out. And it's like, okay, I guess I could combo Xehanort here a little bit. And then it goes back to a more destroyed version of the city, where it's just, again, more air-based. But, of course, since you have glide by this point, it's not too bad. And then, there was an attack where I could never really figure out how to dodge. It's the one where he just, like, grabs you and slams you to the fucking ground. He just Neros you so hard. He's like, slam dunk!
Like the fights were very cinematic. I quite like them, but at the same time, it felt like it was starting to drag for a while until that final
arena where
the final arena with the final keyblades.
And it's just like, okay, here's a proper fight without his armor stuff. But then there's the one attack where he just summons the chairs. I mean, I can block his attacks, but I can never really figure out how to get out of the way of chair laser. Because, like, you have to, like... I don't know if it's only advisable to just keep dodging, but, like, since I'm blocking the other forms just coming at me for an attack, I just don't know. I mean, I hadn't died there, but I'm just like, I want to try and take less damage. And then there's my biggest problem with the fight, personally.
I didn't have that much of an issue with that. You didn't really do that too much.
No, the chair attack was just a one-time thing. Because I'm pretty sure that's a desperation move. And then there's the one thing I had a problem, and this is just user error. I can never really predict when he teleports out to attack, so I always mistimed my blocks, and I'm just like, fuck. It just feels like he's gonna jape a teleport or something. And then there was also where you just kind of get sent into rage form, and you have to like out blacken yourself or out darkness yourself.
Yeah, you have to you have to let the form dissipate. But you take so much damage in that form from him because of the Keyblade is like actually attacking your darkness. I can't remember
if it was this fight or something else. I swear attacking him did refill my health. That never happens in rage form. So I wonder if it's very specific, where it's like, because the game's like, keep attacking him, and it's like, okay. And I guess I never had a problem with that. But of course...
Yeah, well, he always used to body me in that form, so I ended up avoiding him most of the time. Like, taking pot shots with magic and other things, but never, like, outright engaging him when he turned me into that form.
But of course, there's the final attack,
Oh god. Which was a
That-
spectacle.
No, it was
I'm
cool
not gonna lie.
because like it fails and it just has a close up of his grin. I just knew I'm like, this is scripted because like you die, but I hadn't died at that point, so I'm just like, oh, there's no text. This is fake. But still, it's just like you're pressing buttons and get the heartbeat, and then it's like your friends save you. I guess he time traveled to when he didn't unblock because he's blocking the moment after, and then still just final beam. That was cool. And then oh boy.
Yeah, like that's the thing is he's hopping bodies and it's weird. It's so weird. Like just think if you like, you know the movie The One?
Not the Matrix, right?
No, not The Matrix. The one with Jet Li called The One.
Oh yeah, I've never seen it, but
okay. The concept is that there's an infinite amount of realities that we all exist in them. But when one dies, it gives powers to the others. So with this guy, he's like, what if I go into other dimensions and kill myself? All the power goes to me. So I become the one, and I just become like a superhuman because I am all of my existences together. So you're just like some sort of amazing superhuman. He totally is ripping off the one here. Like this is what Sora is. Is I'm fairly sure that he is either subconsciously or consciously hopping bodies.
But
to outcomes where his friends are there, to outcomes where because he went in there alone originally, and then his friends just come to save him, and you're just like, well, how did they really get here? Like, and it's not really explained that it's like Kyrie guiding them or anything. They just get here. It's because he's altering the reality to defeat Xehanort. So they're allowed to just come in and save him. I don't know if he's doing it subconsciously or consciously.
So guess what? Sora wins against Xehanort, and then
yeah.
Oh boy, everyone else shows up, and here's a couple weird things happen. Number one, Master Ericus just leaves Terra's body. It's like, by the way, bitch, hi.
I've been here the entire time.
Was that foreshadowed in Burp by Sleep? Because what the fuck? I don't remember this.
Well, like, yes, because Terra's the one that actually,
yeah,
like,
I know.
kills
Why do you
him?
think Terra's garbage human being that should be dead? I wish Ericus would just come out and be like, Terra. It's like, all right. That's one thing settled.
He just like rips his skin off and he's just fucking Ericus.
He's like, I'm not Terra. I'm something better.
Oh god. Ah! That's like some weird Family Guy skit.
Rips off face and is Hank Hill instead.
He just unzips and he's just this other guy.
But the other weird thing is just how, after all that, Xehanort kind of becomes sympathetic villain material. Like, what?
Yeah, they sort of like, you know, he like throughout this he's been playing this game and he thinks that he's surefire to win, that competing with darkness and achieving balance is not a foretold thing. There's always going to be a battle between these two things. And when you think it's almost certain that darkness or almost certain that light will win, someone will come and change the rules. So that was the whole shindig of the chessboard.
Well, yeah, that I got.
The chessboard they're not playing chess, is they're creating new rules for the chess game.
That sounds
in an argument, of like, can there truly be pure darkness or pure light? Because that's it. They're two sides of the same coin. They're able to push back. Darkness is able to push back against the light when it's backed into a corner. Whereas in the light is also capable of that same thing. So Xehanort's like, oh, I guess you're right.
He just kind of admits
in this
defeat.
reality, he finds this out.
And it's funny because it's just like,
he's like,
all right, buddy, let's get out of here. And then they de-age and just both die. They're gone. Bye. They're gone.
Yeah. That there existed their immortal question, the knowledge of where this rabbit hole leads is now complete. So they are no longer immortal and they just die. That's how I
But it's
that's
even-
how I
it's
saw
even,
that. I
like,
don't know if that's
it's even
exactly what it
funnier.
is.
At least to me, because it's just like this sort of Xehanort was kind of sort of painted as like, oh, this pure evil guy, but then at the very end, it's just like, no, I had motives, I guess, and stuff. It just had like whatever. And then Ericus is like, dude, come on, the game's over. Look, we gotta go
Yeah.
home.
You're done.
We're
You're
gonna play
done, okay,
checkers
buddy?
next.
Yeah,
Promise.
we're gonna go home. We're gonna I'm gonna brew you a nice warm coffee.
Because we're buddies still.
Maybe go
even
buy Tim's.
I mean, Xehanort didn't
Yeah.
kill me. Terra's not my buddy.
Let's go get a beer.
I don't
Yeah.
remember if Ericus did anything to Terra, but I think he did briefly.
They just sort of nodded. He did, like, when he left his body, he's like, what the fuck? And he's like, yes, thank you for being my vessel. And then
Now
you
I'm
just,
gonna
like,
kill you.
and you're like, what?
Oh,
What?
I just cracked my
Yeah.
shoulder, and I'm gonna fucking kill
But
you.
don't worry, that's the thing. No, that's the thing. Terra would forget in like
He'll be
5
like,
seconds.
What?
The poor guy is dumb as bricks. He's like, oh, he was inside me.
Oh yeah,
Cool.
dude.
He wouldn't even think of the wait, did he just like what? This guy has been in me and I've been inside other people I've been pure
Your
darkness
surfer
for a
dude
while.
voice just reminded me of the scene where Riku is on the beach looking at his replica self in probably one of the more gayer moments of the game. But that's no more of that.
I mean, but that's a physical representation of like someone looking back at their childhood.
Like Sora and Kairi look back and there's nothing there. So that's obviously in his head. But still, whatever,
Yeah.
funny. So yeah, Xehanort's gone. Kairi's still gone. So what does Sora do? I'm gonna go find her. Mickey's like, dude, that's dangerous. You know what'll happen, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I think I won this bet. Sora fucking dying? You gotta give it to me, man. You gotta give it to me, please.
See, okay. I
Bullshit.
can't give it
I will
to
not
you
allow this.
because I can't give it to you because of the soul hopping. That he is hopping throughout time and dimensions.
Then why is he not there at the
to
end?
find the one where everyone lives, including himself. He went the final conclusion that we see, and because this is the thing, is it time jumps, and you're like, you see other characters that should be dead, that we've saw die, are alive, right? So he's hopping between dimensions looking for the perfect ending. And he does find one that is everybody.
Except
Everyone
him.
lives.
He's not there.
Except him. So he is in that moment, and Kairi is sitting on the stump. He probably goes to that moment in time to find whether or not they survived. But he goes there, and then he sits beside Kairi, and she sees him for a second and realizes that he's still alive. He's still around.
He is. He
And then
disappears before
because
the credit hits.
So he's going to
dead.
another time. And like, no, because there's the secret ending
That's bullshit.
where him and Riku wake up because they're in a
That's
different
bullshit.
dimension. They're outside of this reality. So he's not
dead in 3.
yet.
He's just not dead in 4. He's just dead in 3, okay?
No, he's not dead. He's just dimension hopping.
I take back everything I said.
This is what Nomura fucking does. I don't know why he does this bullshit, but that's what he does.
But anyways, he's
like, you know what? We're gonna have the clunkiest, bullshittiest dialogue you've ever seen, but every now and then I'm just gonna hint at this way bigger, more complicated, interesting
and then the cycle
thing,
repeats.
which is the fact that fucking Sora is technically hopping between realities to find the one where he wins. And because people like Shion say, well, I still feel her heart, means that he knows that he's hopping realities, thinking, well, if she feels her heart, that means she's out there
probably
somewhere.
in the cloud
Because
world.
we learn about
Probably
reconstructing
in the final
your soul.
world. Just right there. Just go back.
Right?
You could teleport
And that's the
back
thing,
there.
is
There's
like-
a treasure chest you can get there.
Yeah. See, even with that, right, is just say he teleports to that time, and obviously he finds out that he's dead in that timeline. That could actually be the only outcome where Kyrie lives. So, if he may have found that out, he dies. So there's that. But the problem is the super secret ending that came out like a week after the game came out, that it proves that that's not what happened, because his mind and body, as well as Riku, are somewhere completely out of this cycle.
Oh, also, Zigbar Brig is Lushu, who was one of the mobile game students things. Not the Master of Masters, who, by the way, is voiced by Ray Chase Noctis. People are thinking Master is actually Noctis. Some people think it's Sora, by the way.
Actually, it was, you know who it probably is? It's what Noctis used to be in Versus 13.
Well, yeah, because Lucia
Right?
was given
during that time
the
where
box and the Keyblade. Like, Master whispered something to him, and it's like, oh, it's actually Eye Patch Dude. Also, the 4 guys just come out of nowhere. One person's missing. Stuff. That's leading up to the next thing. Even then, like, you see Pete and Maleficent just briefly in that ending just walk away.
Yeah.
So you won that bet, but I think we already went over
Because
that.
They know where the box is. This is the box they've been looking for.
And again, I kind of...
So and that's the thing, is like, now we need to ask, how do these Disney characters know about this box?
Now,
because it's outside of all the realms that they have ever encountered before. Because it's from a completely different dimension.
Now, I probably should have thought Zigbar was Lushu, for example.
Yeah, it was Lushu.
Because, like, way back with the Unchained movie on 2.8, the last line that he says with the box is, "May your heart be guiding key." And he also says that, and, well, I'm just like, oh, okay. CJ wins a bet. That's 2 bets in 1, by the way. Character and box relevance.
Character and box relevance.
Secret ending, which I did want to talk about this because you kind of alluded to it.
Mm-hmm.
People have said, like, okay, well, they're in, like, real life city. Specifically, Sora is in, forget the actual Japanese place, but apparently World Ends With You also takes place here. Shibuya? No, is it not Shibuya?
Yes. It's a different it's a different version of
I'm just
Shibuya,
going by
I
general
believe.
name. And Riku is somewhere else, and apparently he's supposed to be in the same world as Verum Rex Man. And apparently, like, this is, in a way, Nomura actually wanting Versus 13 to be real. Which is interesting, because apparently some people have found out that some things that would have been in Versus 13 did make its way into Kingdom Hearts 3. And a couple other things, too. I mean, obviously, aside from the fucking characters from the toy commercial and the fucking CG budget, it just seems like he probably, if it's gonna be called Kingdom Hearts, he probably wants to make it similar to Versus, or just make Verum Rex its own thing. Because Verum Rex and Yozora, which is I'm pronouncing it wrong because it is late. Like, it's Latin for stuff that was related to stuff similar to Versus 13 and 15. And I think I get it, mainly because of how Nomura got pushed around between multiple projects. Like, he was on Versus 13, got pulled off, and I guess wanted to do Kingdom Hearts. Then he got, out of nowhere, it's like, hey, by the way, you're on the FF7 remake now, we're just telling you. What? And then he gets pulled off, and then he gets pulled off that. So I think a lot of why this game took so fucking long is because he got pushed around between projects from Square.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, maybe he does really want Versus 13 to happen before 15 happened, because there are things that people wanted from Versus 13 that didn't make it to 15, and it could still be possible through this. Still don't know what the fuck it means.
Actually, the bigger thing is they may be able to make with this change, where it's just Sora and Riku, they could make a game where they don't have any Disney characters at all. Because
they cannot call it Kingdom Hearts,
Square
though.
Enix, I know, they wouldn't be able to call it Kingdom Hearts, but they could have something that interlinks with it.
Like a true side game that isn't tied to the franchise.
Yeah, but like it would be like they wouldn't be the main characters, I would say. It would just make them so they could be in that reality without infringing on Disney's copyright. Like, because I'm fairly sure both Sora and Riku are owned by Square Enix, not Disney. Though Disney being the botanical overlords, they probably do own Sora and Riku. But that's the thing, is I'm like, oh, maybe they can do a spin-off game. And, Kingdom Hearts, they may be able to license the name.
And even then,
because it is connected to it.
Since it seems like Unreal Engine 4 is working great for them, they won't have to experiment with stupid random engines that take 20 years. Because, it seemed like this game was made relatively quickly.
Or crash and just completely delete the game.
Yeah. But of course, we're not going to know. It's obviously just the secret ending tease, but it's just like it could just legit be Versus 13 spiritual successor,
Yeah. Or they're in the world ends with you or something.
And that could be a part of it, or that Noctis actually is Master of Masters. Maybe. It'd be funny.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the King of Lucius is the Master of Masters. Because I guess the Ring of Lucii has a bunch of kings in it from different eras and different times. So that's the thing. And it would tie in, you could tie in lightning into that as well.
Oh god. The goddess is back.
Yeah, because she at the end of Lightning Returns she returns to the reality,
in
this
the end,
reality.
Lightning truly did return Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah, so she returned. She actually returned to the reality she was supposed to be in.
That's all speculation, obviously.
I know it's all speculation, but now it makes a lot of sense with the bleed over and everything like that, and they really could just pull it out. We could get Noctis, Lightning, and fucking Sora.
Now, do you think this game would be out before the FF7 remake? Okay, I believe
yes. And this is a crazy idea that only we just came up with.
It's plausible, and
so
I wish we could cite the sources, but
that's it. We've talked about everything.
Oh, we missed one last thing. The song "Don't Think Twice." We didn't talk about that because that was the ending song.
Okay, that was the ending song.
It grew on me. It grew on me because I still think between Sanctuary and Simple and Clean as the Wind, as I consider these three songs the staple songs, which is why they keep getting reused throughout side games as well. But this one is this is the song, not that Skrillex bullshit. Fucking this, and it's it's a little more I don't want to say somber. It's not really. It's sad-ish, but
fleeting. I've always say fleeting. It's one of those things where you like it in the moment, but you realize that it just sort of it goes away. And it's just because it's meant for that type of sadness, right? It's you're a part of this universe for only a small amount of time, and then you're whisked away. Right? The idea of twice. Don't think twice about what could be. Those small fictitious things that you think about.
I want you for a lifetime. So if you're gonna think twice, why am I Terry Funk?
So it feels fleeting because you're always second guessing whether or not it's this, but Instead of just saying "I love you, I want to be with you," you have to be like, "Well, you have to be with me because of this, because you don't have to think about it, because I'm like this."
The Japanese fun fact about the Japanese version, it's apparently about vows. So there's, I guess it seems like there's just different meanings between each one. Again, I like the orchestra more than the actual song, but the actual song has grown on me, and I think it fits. I still think I like the other two a bit above it. I do not count Skrillex. That is not a song. It doesn't qualify.
That's not one of them? I'm fairly sure people count them as one of them. Hey man, Square's AMV of Kingdom Hearts needs to be recognized. They worked really hard on that. I bet you they asked one of their 14-year-old sons saying, "Can you make a Kingdom Hearts AMV?" Does it have the
Arnold watermark? No, we're not using it.
And then he's like, please get me Skrillex. And they're like, wow, is this really how we're doing this? And they're like, yes, we are. Boom. The song is perfect. It's one of those perfect songs that is so bad that it becomes the epitome of the best AMV song ever. Right? It's like Initial D level of here's some Initial D. Everybody uses it, but somehow it's always enjoyable.
It's because the thing is,
same thing
it's because just Eurobeat can actually get blood pumping because it's tied to Initial D because it's just high speed racing kind of fits. Skrillex in this does not fit at all.
But there's so many techno openings before.
It's still weird, but it's never disjointed. I think the closest disjointed I ever got was the Ray of Light remix of Simple and Clean from 0.2. That I quarter receded into my chair, but I'm just like, no, it's okay. But the Kingdom Hearts 3 one, I just full recede into hysterical disbelief. But what do you think about Don't Think Twice?
I have to say I like its orchestral version better.
I always prefer that.
The lyrics one is okay,
weirder in English, especially when it's when you got to go to a higher level up my bitch and
yeah.
I think it's something like that in Japanese too, where it's just a weird.
Yeah, it's got a very onomatopoeia sort of feel to it.
But
yeah. But yeah, it's one of those ones where I just it was a nice send off, but I don't think of the series as a whole with it.
You think
I listen to it and I think Kingdom Hearts 3, right? Where if you think about all the other songs that have played before, they have some nuance that mixes them together. And it feels like they are connected because there is that overarching Simple and Clean instrumental or the Sanctuary instrumental, that type of stuff. And even to this one too, it feels like, yes, this is the song for this one, but it doesn't really link into anything else like the others do. So it'll be interesting to see that maybe down the line that I may enjoy the song more just as a piece. But the reason why I like Simple and Clean is because it's been very consistent for the consistent moments of the story. When I'm thinking about the song, the moment is actually happening on the screen for me, right? So it's playing it too. I'm like, this is fitting because this is what I'm thinking of right now. This would be perfect for this scene. And then
I actually forgot to say that my favorite part of Simple and Clean is actually near the end of the song, where it just kind of quieting down and it's just going, I do like that part because that has a haunting-ish feel, but I'm just that it's all right, that's hitting the spot. No more secondhand embarrassment, all because the song's almost over. And it's just the other one's dude, real talk. Before I even got Chain of Memories when I was a kid, and I wanted to show my parents the commercial on the TV, it played Simple and Clean. Believe it or not, I'm just yeah, that's the game I wanted for my birthday, Christmas. Still got secondhand embarrassment hearing that song as a kid. Because it's just they're just seeing this thing and that song's playing and I don't even know what my parents were thinking in their head. It's just the fuck? I don't even know what it'd be like.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's definitely an interesting choice. Just especially if it's exclaimed without warning.
Because I didn't have a PS2 as Bab. I wanted the
but
band
man, I
kid
could
for
never.
that
I could
game.
be like, I could, but it's the same idea of me going like back in the day and saying, "Hey, mom, turn on the radio. It's turn up the radio. It's Aqua."
What? Wait, what?
You know, like I've looked. You know, I'm like, wow, I really liked Aqua back then, and I think about it now, and I listen to the songs, and I'm like, oh no, I don't know if I can handle too much more of that. And I'm just like, man, it's that
Yeah,
same feeling that I think you're
That's
referring
why I call it
to.
secondhand embarrassment, because I'm just like, I don't want to be associated. I just want to just kind of crawl away into a hole for at least 4 minutes.
Yeah, you had a Garuga Mesh kid moment.
I don't
your
know if I would
parents.
compare it to that. Oh, that's pretty bad.
Just like out of nowhere, you're like, Mom and Dad, I want that.
I mean, how
for
else
Christmas.
would I explain it to
And
them?
they're like, what?
Because I don't think I had an ad, really. I think it just happened to be in the moment.
God.
I think that was also the same year I got Mario Kart DS. I think. Whatever. That was a pretty good birthday. Mario Kart was great. I think with that being said, secondhand embarrassment is this franchise's big staple, and I think that will wrap up our discussion.
Yeah. That wraps up our discussion. I walked away, especially after some of like the more bigger revelations, with like, all right, you still got me invested because you're playing with my like the
You're
way
playing
this
with my
world is
heart.
working.
Oh,
Yeah, you're making Sora hot bodies to find the one where everyone wins.
I still have a picture
Right?
of Buff Riku.
This is the thing, is he finds a reality where Xehanort gets redeemed at the end, right? He finds a reality where the bad guy becomes what he is and realizes that he's been bad.
But Sora still dies.
But Sora still dies in that one. Or no, in that one, Kairi dies. But then in another one, Saix lives, and maybe he's redeemed, and then we find Kairi is alive, but Sora's not. So he's got to go somewhere else.
Bet in my heart. That may be my guiding
right.
key.
That's your key. That's
my
your
guiding
key
key is I wish
That's what
Terra
that
for
is.
real died. But I'll take Sora, quote unquote,
But
dying.
anyway, that's a podcast.
It is
That
a
is
long-
a long podcast. But
It is a long podcast.
I told him that this is about Kingdom Hearts, so it's gonna be long. He may be able to cut it down a little bit here and there if he feels like something is a little too rambly and / or whatever.
I say
but
keep.
we will have a wonderful evening. I hope
I say
you guys
keep it all in
do
zero.
too.
Well, except the beginning, because that has to be cut.
All right. Oh, obviously. Oh, an extra 7 minutes on the 3.5-hour podcast.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Don't worry.
Don't you
You
worry.
can cut that. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Not a problem,
I
man. You wanna pimp yourself out? You wanna pimp
Before
yourself
I
out
did that, I
before we
wanted
go?
to ask, what's next for you for this supposed franchise? Because I think we should get at least one final stamp.
All right. That final stand, I will pay attention to where it's going. I don't want to say I'm going to go and buy it, but I'm going to pay attention to where the story is
CJ,
going.
you're now understanding my perspective for the past decade, where I will just pay attention,
All right.
and that has not changed.
It's that curiosity. It's the curiosity.
And sometimes the dumb moments are amazing or just terrible, but it's a ride, and it basically is a Disney ride. And I'm just like, all right, cool. I'll hop on. I'll spin a ticket. Oh, the game's fun, at least, depending on installment. Yeah. I just wonder if the Versus 13 stuff will actually be a real thing. I don't know. We're just gonna have to watch from the sidelines.
Man.
Anyways, if I wanted to pimp myself out, you could find me at youtube.com/wellunreal007 or on Twitter at wellunreal007 or on Twitch at wellunreal007. I don't know when this podcast will be going up, but I am still actually working on my top 10 favorite games of 2018 video. I don't know when it'll be out. I would like to have it be done by the end of February. And in the meantime, I do have some archive streams of some recent great game known as Resident Evil 2. Not Kingdom Hearts 3. The game's way too long for me to stream. Which you can find archived on both my Twitch and YouTube. But for top 10, check my YouTube for that. And if you want updates on Twitch streams whenever I do it, Twitter is a good place because I will always post notifications there. I think that will do it for me pimping myself out. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. I'll always do my spiel. You can find me at CanadianJutsu at pretty much everything. That's including Twitter, on Twitch, and on YouTube, and yeah, everywhere at CanadianJutsu. It's great. Also, on top of that, I am currently been streaming more on Twitch, so I've been getting my paces through Breath of the Wild. Finally, I'm doing everything, so I'm pretty much enjoying my time with that every time that I get a chance to do it. So that's really the main thing that I'm doing right now. I do have a couple of videos planned, but also some stuff that I just haven't gotten the time to do yet, so I don't want to say too much. And that sometime this year, episode 11 of Inuyasha Abridged is actually coming out. I wanted to get it out before the decade change, because it's getting to the embarrassing point at this point. So that's pretty much it. So we have a podcast finished, and you guys have been so wonderful as to listen to the whole thing, or skip to the end. Hi. And we will see you next time. So take care, stay frosty. I'm CanadianJutsu, and...
Oh, I'm supposed to do something? Oh, right.
Yeah, just say something.
It's weird. It's my second one. I should have done it. I am WonRull, and may your heart be your guiding key.
Oh!